I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit revivemenshealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. The CDC has just stopped recommending routine COVID-19 vaccinations for pregnant women and healthy children. Health Secretary Kennedy broke the news in a video on his X account.
A COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Pregnant women and children with underlying conditions are considered at higher risk for severe illness from COVID. There's a new step by the Trump administration to end financial links with Harvard University. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
CBS News has obtained a copy of a letter from an administration official that's going out to all agencies, directing them to review outstanding contracts and terminate those they determine are not critical or in line with administration policies. There are 9 agencies who have about 30 outstanding contracts with Harvard, totaling around $100 million.
And there's news about the administration's bid to end federal funding for National Public Radio.
The lawsuit by NPR, Colorado Public Radio, Aspen Public Radio, and Colorado-based KUTE Inc. argues that the executive order to cut their federal funding is illegal and violates the First Amendment. The suit says the order is textbook retaliation and viewpoint-based discrimination. The president's executive order says the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and other federal agencies must cease federal funding for NPR and PBS. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Overseas, new information in Liverpool, England, after a van that rammed soccer fans yesterday.
Police in Liverpool say the driver had penetrated the parade route after a police roadblock was temporarily lifted to allow an ambulance through. And that led to this.
Oh, my God!
Police were quick to rule out terrorism and now say this.
We have arrested a 53-year-old man from West Derby on suspicion of attempted murder, dangerous driving offences, and driving whilst unfit through drugs.
He's in custody. 11 of the 50 people injured yesterday remain hospitalized. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
A private report indicates consumer confidence rebounded this month after 5 straight months of declines. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
We were expecting a number around 86. We got 98. What that basically means is anything above 100 is positive. Okay. So we're still negative, but it's much better than people felt.
President Trump's social media company says today it plans to raise about $2.5 billion with an eye to creating a Bitcoin treasury. Checking Wall Street, right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up more than 600 points. The S&P is up 100. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Trial begins for a Seattle sports legend. That's one of the stories coming up. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, in Renton, you have a crash on southbound I-405 at 44th. You're backed up to I-90 now. Your toughest travel time is Olympia to Tacoma, 50 minutes. That's about 15 longer than usual. Everett to Seattle is about an hour. Renton to Bellevue, 47. Pretty typical this time of day. Federal Way to Seattle, 75. About 5 longer than usual. You are pumping brakes on the I-90 bridge and you bog down over Mont Lake on the 520. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electric, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. We could see another clash of protesters in Seattle, with opposing groups promising to show up at City Hall this afternoon. But first, nearly 24 people who were arrested after violence erupted at a weekend Seattle rally have faced a judge. KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn was there.
Anger from the weekend arrests in Cal Anderson Park spilled into the hallway at the King County Jail as supporters demanded in to the small courtroom for their friends' bail hearings. The jail guards refused and the group stood down. Nearly 24 people were arrested during a rally sponsored by Mayday USA, a Christian pro-family, pro-two genders organization. A rally the city of Seattle allowed on Capitol Hill, the heart of the LGBTQ plus community.
Mayor Bruce Harrell accused conservative groups of trying to provoke the LGBTQ community around Cal Anderson Park. Harrell also blamed the violence on anarchists, whom he said infiltrated the counter-protests. Well, today, conservative religious groups plan to go to City Hall to demand that Harrell apologize. Counter-protesters say they plan to be there too. We'll let you know what happens. Jury selection begins today in the trial of Sonics legend Shawn Kemp. The former NBA pro is charged with assault for allegedly shooting at 2 people in the Tacoma Mall parking lot in 2023. Kemp claims the 2 broke into his car and stole several items and that he fired in self-defense. No one was injured. The trial continues today for the driver accused of hitting and killing Trooper Christopher Gadd on I-5 in Marysville last year. The injuries so severe that a witness told the court,
there was blood everywhere. I don't want to go into details. Can I not go into details?
Raul Benitez Santana is charged with vehicular homicide and DUI. He claims he mistook the shoulder where Gadd was parked for a lane. 2 families are rebuilding after a car crashed through their homes in Burian. King County deputies say a speeding car hit and went airborne on South 121st Street. People in the 2 homes tell KIRO 7 TV.
Nobody was in the house except for the dog, and she escaped any harm.
The only thing we can do is just rebuild, but thank God nobody got injured.
The driver was arrested. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the low 70s, highs in the 80s tomorrow. It's 56 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Let's see what this is here. Oh, May 27th. Listen, y'all, look. It has been too long since I talked to y'all. There has been, Ursula, over the weekend, there's so many topics that happen. And it's not as fun. I realized texting some text groups talking about these topics. I need to talk to the Gee and Ursula Show listeners, right?
They're in a league of their own.
So I don't know if y'all missed us, but man, did we miss you. Good morning, Ursula, and I do got a question of the day for you.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. The question of the day coming back, at least for now. Okay.
It's coming back because it's coming back from the listeners.
Oh.
Scott in the 360. He starts off the morning. Thank you, Scott. And I want to start doing this. Gee, here's your question of the day. If you take, and this is for you, Ursula, if you take a late afternoon nap, is it making up sleep from the night before or adding to the sleep for the upcoming night?
Oh, easy. I'm making up for not just last night, I'm making up for 3 previous nights. How about you? There's nothing more delicious than an afternoon nap, though, I will tell you.
Did you call it delicious?
Yes, it is delicious. It really is, man. It really is.
Oh,
It is like,
So
yes.
I'll answer that. If I sleep in the afternoon, which is rare, that is adding sleep to the upcoming night. Okay, Ursula, let's get to work. What we got?
Okay, well, coming up at 9:30, an emotional Memorial Day message from a president. We're going to share that with you. And then at 9:47, another major airline is enforcing some new rules. And Gee, you're going to explain why you are all about those new rules.
Come on.
And how it just applies to life.
Yeah.
Okay, our news radio text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. As Gee said at the top of the show, can't do it without you.
Good morning, Chef. Good morning, Nick. Ursula's top stories of the day brought to you by Bathfitter Northwest.
This morning, there are growing calls for Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell to resign over his response to protests that turned violent Saturday in Cal Anderson Park. A conservative Christian group gathered around 1 p.m. for their May Day USA event, which is part of their Don't Mess with Our Kids movement. About 500 people attended the prayer rally, but the Seattle Times reports hundreds of counter-protesters also showed up, many of them waving transgender pride flags. And then it was shortly before 2 p.m. that Seattle police announced on X that protesters were being told to back away from officers and to stop throwing stuff at them. And there was video posted on social media showing protesters shoving police in riot gear, officers pinning some of them to the ground in handcuffs. These clashes went on for 5 hours before police eventually arrested 23 people. Then in a statement Saturday night, Mayor Bruce Harrell said, this is a quote, "The far-right rally was held at Cal Anderson Park to provoke a reaction by promoting beliefs that are inherently opposed to our city's values in the heart of Seattle's most prominent LGBTQ plus neighborhood." He also said, again quoting, "Anarchists infiltrated the counter-protesters group and inspired violence, prompting SPD to make arrests and ask organizers to shut down the event early," which they did. Pastor Russell Johnson is among the Christian conservative leaders who are now outraged by the mayor's response.
I think people of good faith have frankly had enough of Mayor Bruce Harrell's incendiary comments and his attack on free speech. So we are rallying Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. on the front steps of City Hall, and we are calling for the mayor to either apologize and retract his statements or resign in disgrace for really becoming an enemy of the constitutionally protected rights of people in and around Seattle who have the right to peacefully assemble without being violently attacked.
Okay, but Gee, it is not just the ultra-conservative Christian groups who are angry. Some of the counter-protesters are hacked off as well, accusing police of going too far in their response. Hannah Saunders is the editor of Seattle Gay News and was at the protest on Saturday.
What happened was somebody from the counter-protest side popped a balloon that May Day USA had put up, and I confirmed this with multiple sources, and cops moved in, and bike cops, mind you, a lot of them were bike cops. They moved in. I counted at least 23 bike cops, but they had more officers come in. They started tackling people to the ground, using batons, pulling out pepper spray. I saw one person they had arrested laying on their stomach, and one officer had pepper spray in that person's face, ready to spray them when they're on the ground.
Now, for their part, Seattle police say this protest is one of the first under new city rules, allowing cops to use less lethal weapons like tear gas, pepper spray, and blast balls to control crowds.
Stay away from the dice game. Stay away from the dice game. Growing up, Ursula, there used to be dice games going around. And some of those that grew up in the black neighborhood, you know what I'm talking about. And they be sitting there, boy, let me get them snake eyes. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from the dice game. My grandma would say, don't touch the dice. Angela Russell sent me a text. You don't touch the dice. What I'm saying is, Ursula, once you touch that dice and you are a part of that game, you are all parts of the chaos can ensue. But if you didn't touch the dice, you was good. Ursula, the goal of this right-wing group was to cause chaos. Did it work? Yep. Go ahead, let's get a permit. Let's do this anti-gay, anti-trans right in the heart of the LGBTQ community right there at Cal Anderson Park. Hey, Ursula, hey, next time, let's just have a Klan rally right across the street from Rainier Beach. You see what I'm saying? Let's do it right there. That was the goal. And the goal to demonize the mayor, because now everybody is mad at the mayor. You can't win for losing. And so the right-wing organization, checkmate. That was the job. That's what they wanted to do. And now they're going to show up on Tuesday night. By the way, here's my message to y'all right-wing folks that want to show up on Tuesday night to tell the mayor that he either apologize. He ain't apologizing to y'all, and he ain't resigning. Go on somewhere and play.
Okay. So there's so much to go over. And I love your saying there about this is exactly what they wanted. However, they say they initially wanted to hold their event at Victor Steinberg Park at Pike Place Market, but their permit was denied. So, and the Seattle Parks Department did give them permission to be at Cal Anderson Park.
I know, yeah.
As much as I abhor their anti-trans message, they had the right to be at that park, which is, I know, exactly. Even if it's awful speech, they have a right to free speech. And the organizers and SBD should have also expected counter-protesters. So the hundreds of people who were there to fight against bigotry and hate had a powerful message. But it was lost once crap started getting thrown around. And the violence started. So now it's like everyone pointing fingers. I don't know if it was anarchists. Was it anarchists who created the chaos? But once that happens, I mean, you've lost the message.
Hey, let's say they do it again, Ursula. Let's say they do it again. And so I'm going to speak for G. I don't want to be, this is the show's message to everyone. This is me. This is my message to everybody. Listen, y'all, if the right-wing folks show up again and they get that permit to Cal Anderson Park and they want to get there and they want to talk about anti-this and anti-that, check this out. Counter-protesters, just stay away. Stay away. Because if you go, this is the goal. Let them go ahead and gather together. I mean, no matter what, somebody's going to go there. They want to pop a balloon and do something to cause this.
But here's another thing.
Okay.
Show up in force, but keep it and make sure that it remains peaceful. Make it a beautiful thing. We're here for love. We're here to show love. I'm sorry that you feel the way that you do. You have the right to say what it is that you're saying. And by the way, it's not Gee and Ursula going against Christians. This is a particular group with a very hateful message. One of the organizers, one of the people there was former Representative Matt Shea. Look him up. Look for what that dude stands for.
Matt Shea.
Yeah, exactly. So this is not just this loving group of people who wanted to be there to talk about family values. I mean, they want to provoke.
But Ursula, you just said something a second ago. You see how they do that? You see how they say, well, no, you guys are against Christians.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not going to do that. It's not going to work.
Well, it is going to work. It's going to work for their group. I mean, so basically, it's going to work for the people who follow them. Mm-hmm. So the religious groups accusing the mayor of being anti-Christian, this morning, the mayor responds and says, we will not, this is another quote, we will not be intimidated by the kind of fear-mongering or divisiveness inspired by the rally that takes aim at our residents and at Seattle's second black and first biracial mayor. So now, essentially, I think the mayor is saying, you all think I'm anti-Christian? Well, I think you are racist. I mean,
don't touch the dice.
What an idiot. What an idiot, because the mayor, this never should have happened. The simple fact is that Matt Shea is a domestic terrorist. Okay? He is called for killing all men who do not comply with Christian law. Right? That is just one little bullet point on Matt Shea. Do not permit this event. It's silly.
But wait. Don't give it a permit based on what?
Based on the fact that they deny permits all of the time. You don't necessarily need a massive justification, but you could tell this was going to be a provocation. Matt Shea has horrific views. This is a group that believes in what's called dominionism, that religion should rule the U.S. government and we should all live underneath it. And they come to Capitol Hill.
Okay,
of course.
Well, they
give them another park.
They come to Capitol Hill because they wanted to be at another park. I think this is just a S show all the way around. I'm not on board calling the mayor an idiot. So that's you speaking for you. That's not Gee and Ursula Show.
No.
That's true.
Do I think he stepped in it? Yeah, I think he should have held back on and just said, we don't promote violence, period. We don't agree with hate, period. But now, then he had to kind of backtrack again. Now they're going to come back out. They're going to come back out today, both sides. And it's going to end up being a complete you-know-what show.
Matt Shea reminds me of somebody. Let's just move on.
Okay, let's go on to what is happening at SeaTac Airport, because the Port of Seattle Commission says it is deeply concerned about federal immigration officials' recent actions at the airport. In a news release, the commissioners say they are pushing the feds for answers about green card holders who are being held in custody at the airport for extended periods of time. The most recent case, which we have covered, involves Maximo Londinio, who was detained at SeaTac for 5 days before being moved to the Northwest Ice Processing Center in Tacoma. So he was stopped by Customs and Border Protection officers after he came back from a trip to the Philippines, something he's done many times without a problem. In his case, the Seattle Times reports that the Olympia man was likely detained because of nonviolent convictions from more than 20 years ago. Sound familiar? His detention is very similar to Llewellyn Dixon's case. The University of Washington lab technician, also green card holder, was also detained at SeaTac back in February after returning from a trip to the Philippines. And in her case, she had some convictions from decades ago, but they popped up and she was held, and she's still being held. Although the Port of Seattle has no authority over international travel, the Commission's president says recent immigration enforcement actions across this country raise serious and legitimate questions about transparency, due process, and whether airports are truly safe, welcoming places for all travelers.
Ursula, you used to be in management, so I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
If I call in sick and then around 10 o'clock, 11:30, I'm on a boat hanging out on Lake Washington, taking pictures, is that legit?
You've called in sick? No, it's not legit.
Okay. The reason why I bring that up is because technically you can get in trouble for something like that. You could technically possibly lose your job for something like that, right? Whereas somebody might not. This is what that reminds me of what we're dealing with right now with people with green cards, people right now in the country. Technically, if you had a arrest, a conviction on your deal, a DUI 15 years ago, and you go to travel outside of the country, technically, they can detain you. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is if you are a green card holder right now, you need to technically know every single rule, cross T's, dot I's, and the first thing, if you have a doubt, don't travel.
It's true. It's true. And I actually talked to an immigration attorney over the weekend, and he said, and I just want to make it clear too, this is not a new rule under Trump. It is a new rule that is being enforced now. So this is something that could have happened and maybe did happen, but now we're hearing about it happen more often. Green card holders, if you have a prior conviction, even if you have done your time, if you're planning to leave, don't be shocked if you have an issue coming back into the country because of what is going on right now. Okay, let's squeeze this in because the Mariners may have dropped 2 out of 3 to the Astros over the weekend, but Sunday's game still had a lot of fireworks. Just not the kind we were hoping for. They were tied 3-3 in the ninth. Cal Raleigh on first and Randy Arozarena at the plate.
Strike 3 call. Cal Raleigh single is stranded. We go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Just moments ago, Dan Wilson coming out, talking with Laz Diaz after the strikeout to Randy Arozarena, and something that has never happened in the baseball career of Dan Wilson as a player or in his short early career as a manager. Dan Wilson has been ejected from this game.
That was Root Sports with the call. Yep. Dan Wilson getting tossed for the first time in his entire 33-year baseball career. Player or coach, that's a new notch on the belt. And my question is that a notch of pride or a notch of shame?
I wasn't expecting the way you worded that.
I don't want to call. Finally, he got kicked out.
I don't want to call it shame, and I don't want to call it pride. I do think it's manufactured. I don't believe that Dan Wilson, you don't go and be a part, Ursula, of baseball for 33 years and let that be the moment. Like, you want to put some spark into your team.
Yeah.
You want to let your team know. I think it's manufactured.
Okay.
And I just one last point that before this even happened, it was over the weekend, and my buddy AJ and I were watching base. When players and or coaches are going at the umpire and people are holding them back, I have a question. What you gonna do? Are you really gonna go beat up the umpire? Why are they holding you back? What you gonna do? It is all a show.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna do nothing. Dan Wilson, you wasn't gonna do nothing. Oh, you gonna get up close. Have you ever seen an umpire?
Did it help change the course of the game?
No, but it lets his team know he gets fired up.
Yeah, okay.
It's manufactured. Okay. So I don't want to call it shame.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it pride.
Okay. Are we going to see it again, you think? Are we going to see more of it?
No, probably not. Ursula, you ever been kicked out of a game?
Proudly, no. How about you?
No.
No.
Yeah. Like people
I don't know
like,
that I've been kicked out of anywhere.
Text in right now. Have you been kicked out of a game before?
And was it justified? Why? I've wanted other people to get kicked out of a game, yes. I've cheered when other people have been kicked out of the game when they were so obnoxious and drunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, yesterday was Memorial Day. And yesterday I saw an incredible message on Memorial Day. To the point, and it was well done. We talk about that next. Gee Ursula.
KIRO Newsradio, winners of 3 2025 Regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey live in Linwood.
Bunch of tall trees in a wooded area just off of Alderwood Mall Parkway.
And we thank you.
We are the Northwest leading news station because of you, inspiring us every day to deliver the local news and stories you care about.
KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X-Fi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Call or click 811 before you dig. Anything that causes you to roll up your sleeves a little and dig in requires you to first connect with 811. Call or click 811 and visit safeexcavator.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, Spike O'Neill for Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens. About 2 months ago, I finally given up to the fact that I wasn't as young as I used to be and my eyeballs were not as young as they used to be. It didn't work as well as supposed to be. I always had perfect vision in my life, but I noticed deterioration. So I went to the folks at Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens, had a full eye exam. They do amazing work. And it was determined that by their very excellent staff, I had the beginnings of cataract. And I was a perfect candidate for refractive lens exchange, RLE surgery. Now, the folks at Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens have done over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. So I was in great hands. My care team from start to finish put me at ease, answered all my questions. The procedure was easy. I was in and out in less than an hour. And within a couple of weeks, my recovery was complete. I've got 20/10 vision. Colors are brighter, more focused. I'll never need readers again, and I will never develop a cataract. They are the future of vision over 45. Give the folks at Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens a call, 425-451-2020. That's 425-451-2020 or online at sharp-vision.com, sharp with an e-vision.com, official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with no credit financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment needed and financing is available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on mynorthwest.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Jim Singletary here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we're not afraid to tell you no. Looking for a roofing company that'll do cheap, fast work and just cover up the problem? No, that's not us. Want a quick quote without a real inspection? Nope. Just want a price without knowing your options? Not happening. Look, we don't want to tell you no, but if saying yes means cut corners, bad results, or wasted money, we won't do it. Period. And here's the deal. Seattle gets 150 rainy days a year. That's not wait and see weather, it's call RoofSmart now weather. We say no to leaky roofs, sloppy work, and bad estimates, and yes to thorough inspections, accurate quotes, and top quality work that actually lasts. So if you want an honest roofer who's not afraid to say no to bad work, call RoofSmart today at 206-487-4877 or visit GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Conservative religious groups plan to meet at Seattle's City Hall today to demand an apology from Mayor Bruce Harrell. Harrell said a far-right group held a rally at Cal Anderson Park Saturday to provoke the LGBTQ community there. Russell Johnson is the lead pastor at Pursuit Northwest Church.
He's blaming the people who are on the receiving end of unchecked violence.
Harrell also blamed violence on anarchists whom he said infiltrated a group of counter-protesters. Police arrested 23 people. Counter-protesters now say they will show up at City Hall this afternoon, too. We'll let you know what happens. The Pierce County Sheriff says he will not enforce the state's newly passed gun permit law, which he calls politically motivated. It requires gun owners to obtain a permit and pass a live fire training course before buying a firearm. Supporters say it will save lives. A deadly shooting in Auburn's Lee Hill neighborhood this morning.
Spokesperson Colby Crossley tells me the suspects were looking for the victim.
We do believe that this was a targeted attack. We also believe that there was more than one shooter.
Police say the one man who was shot later died at Harborview Medical Center. No arrests so far. Last Wednesday, about a mile away, a suspect rode up to the entrance of a mobile home park on a dirt bike and shot a 17-year-old boy. That victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Overseas, police don't believe it was a terror attack attack, but don't yet know why. A 53-year-old British man rammed a car into a crowd celebrating a Liverpool soccer team championship. This witness says it appeared to be deliberate.
And we suddenly saw the car reverse and then accelerate and move through the crowd. Yeah, it was terrifying. It genuinely was terrifying.
Dozens of people were hospitalized. Ukraine says Russia is escalating its attacks. Over the weekend, Ukraine saw its biggest single-day drone attack since Russia invaded in 2020. As for a ceasefire, CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab reports.
President Trump is growing frustrated by Vladimir Putin's continued attacks on Ukraine and the slow pace of these peace talks, and is now reportedly eyeing sanctions against Moscow.
And there's concern Trump will abandon talks altogether. Wall Street's happy Trump is delaying a 50% tariff on European goods. The Dow is up 636 points, NASDAQ ahead 418. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in Renton, a crash is blocking 2 lanes on southbound I-405 at 44th. You're backed up into Bellevue, and your travel time Renton to Bellevue is about an hour, 15 longer than typical. Still waiting for your Olympia to Tacoma drive to ease. It's 42 minutes, 10 longer than usual. Your pumping brakes on the I-90 bridge. The 520 bridge has nearly cleared out. Traffic brought to you by FlySeaportAir.com, introducing convenient flights between Boeing Field and Portland on Seaport Airlines. Visit FlySeaportAir.com. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the low 70s, highs in the 80s tomorrow. It's 58 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Tuesday morning. And as all you know, yesterday was Memorial Day, and we had a special message from a president.
Yes, we did, and I loved it. On Memorial Day, we remember the sacrifices that our men and women in uniform and their families have made to preserve our freedom. May we always strive to honor the strength and resolve they've shown our country. And I got to tell you, Ursula, that message was beautiful. It wasn't long. It was to the point. And I love how this president came out and just talked about the sacrifices. Because if you talk about Memorial Day, and I think we all can agree, doesn't matter if you're conservative or liberal, it doesn't matter. We all can agree that on Memorial Day, we need to remember the sacrifices of our men and women in uniforms and also their families that have given their life to preserve our freedom. So when I saw that, thank you, Ursula, for letting us and allowing us to talk about this on the show, because I think it is very important, not just presidential of him to give that message, but a real message of a U.S. citizen, right? A U.S. citizen using their platform for good and also to honor those on Memorial Day. It's beautiful.
Yes, and it's something that Memorial Day is one of those holidays that a lot of people don't remember what it's about, and they think it's just about the barbecues and that kind of thing. And unfortunately, this was not our current president. This was the message was from.
It was President. It was former President Barack Obama.
Yes,
that's who gave that message.
So I was looking to see what President Trump said on Memorial Day, and in case you missed it, I want to share that with you. And this is what he posted on his platform. Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who were on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and released prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob, murder, and rape again. So we counted, this was a 174-word post. He went on to say, because he's upset with judges. So he says, all protected by these USA-hating judges who suffer from an ideology that is sick and very dangerous for our country. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of the monsters who want our country to go to hell.
So, your thoughts on that, Ursula?
Well, as much as I hate to bring up President Trump, because I know that it gets a lot of people triggered one way or the other, I think it is important to share that it's not just these little, he has these little, mean tweets or you guys have Trump derangement syndrome because of these mean tweets. I mean, this is something that all of us should look at and go, are you serious on Memorial Day? When we should be remembering those who served and died for our country?
Yeah.
And you start off this thing to all your millions of followers, happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum? Is he referring to President Biden as the scum?
And anyone who supports that. Ursula, I'm not saying this to say that I am just making this normal, and I'm not doing that.
We can't normalize
it. I'm not normalizing it. But what I'm saying is that the ramifications that will come from how we are as a country, this will be long lasting. Mm-hmm. This will be it's one of those things where we see that, and we see scum and this and he says and he goes on and he says the part where he says the radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane. So when he says things like that, he is talking to people, and the people believe, there's 21 million undocumented immigrants that came into our country, and most of them being criminals and mentally insane, keeping the murderers, the drug dealers, and the rapists. When you have the President of the United States calling people that, this will be past our lifetime, Ursula.
Well, I'm curious, if you have young children today, how do you explain the president? How do you explain even that language right there in that post? I don't. My kids are adults. So I don't have to worry about it.
That's a good question. Chef, that's a very good question, Ursula.
How do I explain this kind of stuff to Matthew?
Yeah.
I tell him that there are people who have learned that they can be successful or think they're successful when they show hate for other people. And that ultimately these are very deeply unhappy, deeply broken individuals who are seeking to hurt others to fill themselves because they're so empty. That's usually what I say.
And that's a great way to explain it. But then how do you explain this is the person who right now is in the White House? That's the hard thing. And
yeah.
I don't think there's not an easy answer.
And when you go down it, and again, this will be all in the history books. And so 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when you go back to 2020, and if you guys remember Trump's words, Americans who died in war are losers and suckers. This message coming from someone who dodged the draft. I just remember there used to be a time where we really honored and gave respect to those that served and continue to serve the armed forces. Hey, coming up next, there is a new rule that has been put in place. I love the rule. The people that's made the rule, I don't know about them, but I love the rule. We'll explain that next. Gee Ursula.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Now more than ever, you want to buy your next vehicle from a dealership you trust. For me, that's Carter Subaru. Ursula Reutin here. Right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek or the 2025 Forester with 3.9% APR for 48 months. Shop the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 5/31/25.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Hey, it's Lori from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation. Think insulation is only for the winter? Think again. Upgrading attic insulation is a popular and cost-effective way to make your home more energy efficient. It's your secret weapon for staying cool in the summer, slashing utility bills, and boosting your home's air quality while keeping mold at bay. Need an attic overhaul or thinking about new insulation? Look no further. Guardian has your back. Call now and save $299 off attic ceiling and insulation, or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Time is running out to save during our preseason AC sale happening now at Bob's Heating and Air Conditioning. Don't miss your chance to save 10% on a new air conditioner, heat pump, or ductless system to keep your home cool all summer long. Join thousands of satisfied customers and put your trust in the team voted best in the Pacific Northwest year after year. Hurry and call Bob's for your free AC estimate today.
Bob's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call Bob.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
It's Clean Car Month. Right now, get the Pro X1 Car Care Collection Wash Kit for just $19.99, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Are you worried
about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rurucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Nick, there's something about this song. It reminds me of a
movie?
Like your dad's tapes. VCR.
Oh.
Hey,
okay. That hurts right now because you know this is a movie I've watched more than any other movie in my lifetime.
Oh, is this John Travolta now?
This is Saturday Night Fever,
Saturday
man.
Night Fever, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Ain't no Dirk Diggles soundtrack.
It's next one. One
person music.
Okay, let's get to work. By the way, I got my news boss open, y'all, just so everybody that listens to the show, you know what that means. United Airlines will soon require all domestic passengers without checked luggage to check in 45 minutes from before departure. And if you fail to check in 45 minutes before the flight, United Airlines is saying you will be left behind. And right now, Ursula, the rule is 30 minutes. You know what I mean? You got to be checked in by 30 minutes or you'll be left behind. But now they're saying, you know what? We're going to make it 45 minutes. And to which I am super proud of United Airlines for doing this.
Why super proud? They're saying that they're trying to align with what many other airlines have already started doing. So they've been a little more lax about it. And they're like, we got more people traveling. You know, they're also saying, hey, we want to make sure every seat is full.
Do you all have that person at work or in your family that lack of preparedness on their side constitutes an emergency for you? Even though you had, so what is happening throughout of the airlines, and as much as people want to give, and I'm one of them that gives SCA a bad rep and all these airports and flying dysfunction and all that, it's just SCA, it's all over. What's happening is you have a bunch of people that are late. A bunch of people who are late no matter what. They're not accountable. They use their forefinger, and they should be using their thumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So because of this, Ursula, I think this is one that you and I are going to agree on. I want you to be on time, and I want airlines to be more efficient. This will help people be more efficient. And you just get left.
Yeah.
You don't check in, you get left.
So yeah, good for them for doing this. The real reason, though, is, more people are traveling. You travel all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm about to head to SEA in
you about
a
to
few
go?
days. Yeah, I'm about to go.
Are you already checked out?
No, nope, not yet. Just rounding first.
Okay.
Got a few more days.
All right.
However, we've got more and more people traveling, and the worst thing is when you are delayed because there are those last minute. I love it when the airlines are able to get everybody in their seats quickly, and they're like, okay, we've got all our passengers ready to go. Right? That is the best feeling. Exactly.
So I'm saying yes.
The worst is when they're just waiting, and now you're looking at it the time, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's we're gonna get there even later, especially if you're gonna have a short layover. Flight. Yes, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And bottom line, they just want to make sure that all their seats can be filled. If you're not going to show up, now they're going to find someone else who's going to show up.
And for those listening, do I need to look? All that means is you need to check in. You can do it on your phone. Make sure you're checked in before the 45 minutes. If you check in at 39 minutes before the flight, it's too late and you will get left. And so what I want to be proud of is this. Of anybody getting left, it will not be Ursula. It will not be a Gee and Ursula Show listener because we talked about it on the show. We have told you. As a matter of fact, do me a favor. Can you just check in the night before, the 24 hours when you're allowed to check in? That way your airlines knows who's going to be coming. No, you're not going to be coming. We can get that seat to someone else. All those things.
How many minutes are you checking in for a domestic flight since you fly around so much?
Well, okay, real quick. When I check in the night before.
I was going to say, right?
So it's 24 hours right before the flight.
Yeah, you can do that before.
And I
There's
do
no
that. That's
reason.
one. But when do I get to the airport?
Yeah.
Ursula, your boy get to the airport at least 2 hours early.
Yeah, even for domestic flights.
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm chilling.
My goal is always to arrive at SeaTac 2 hours from not just like pulling into the parking lot.
Right. Now, do you
not actually checked in and then waiting?
That's fine. That's fine. Do you have any? Do you know anybody that just likes to cut it close? Like why?
Yeah.
Why y'all want to cut it close?
Because those are people who are, I like to say, eternal optimists in everything in life, including that they're not going to hit any sort of traffic, that they're going to not be any sort of last-minute snafus. So even on the best possible scenario, you have 1 minute of wiggle room. Those are those people. And I say that with assurance because there was a time I was that person.
You used to be late?
Don't want to act like you.
No.
That you're so shocked.
We're not late, G. We're optimists.
We're optimists.
Yeah. Everything works out.
Like, have I ever been... Okay, question.
Yeah.
When someone has a party starting at 3, what time are you showing up?
I didn't... Whoa.
I'm bringing this up because I went to a party that started at 3 over the weekend. Tracy, happy birthday again.
At what time did you get there?
3:40.
Wait a minute. Sarah and AJ had a party yesterday, a barbecue, that started at 3. I came in the house. We came in the house at 3:05. That's right. If your party started at 3, G and Lillian getting there at 3. Come on now.
See, I love the people who get there 3:05. I don't appreciate the people who get there at 2:50.
Yeah.
I am that person who's also getting ready until the very last minute.
Just everyone show up at 3:30 because let's be honest, most of us don't have all of our ducks in a row right when the party's supposed to start.
Look, I used to be one of those, okay, I don't want to get there early. I want to be there fashionably. Like I want to make it look like I'm not desperate. Sarah and them, they party started at 3. Your boy was pulling up. We was there at 3:05. I was walking in the door and I told him, Ursula, I apologize that your party started at 3 and we walking in at 3:05.
And you're trying to call the Bee Gees old music over here, showing up 5 minutes after the party starts.
Was there anyone else there with you?
No, we was first.
Yeah, my friend Sonia made sure she texted me and said, I got here at 3.
But I think that people that have parties appreciate the early people.
I think they do. Not super early.
But don't get there at 2:50.
No.
All right. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, we're going to be talking more about the backlash over Kyle Anderson Park protests. Gee and Ursula.
The old throne's not too well, and ooh, does it smell?
DayandNight.net. Hi, I'm Bruce, General Manager of Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Over the past 70 years, I think we've seen every drain clog out there. If your pipes aren't draining, I promise you, our experienced technicians will find the issue, the right solution, and do it at a fair price. We'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
Call Day and Night to save $50 off any drain cleaning.
DayandNight.net. My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check,
Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com. How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm Steve Kathan. New action from the Trump administration comes amid a host of recent changes to COVID-19 policy.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced on social media,
the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
By his side, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary, who said there's no evidence that healthy kids need it.
And most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
Last week, the FDA also announced it's overhauling how it approves vaccines, which may limit future shots to those who are older or at higher risk of serious infection. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
A private report out today indicates a rise in consumer confidence this month for the first time since the end of last year. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
People are feeling better. Notably, a lot of the survey responses in this month's report came after that May 12th date. That's very important because that's when we saw the pullback with China, that they were coming to the table and saying, hey, we think a deal is going to get done. We're going to pause a lot of these tariffs. So what this tells me is consumers are looking at the data, that they're seeing the headlines, what's happening with the stock market, and they're feeling better.
In a fresh swipe at Harvard University, the Trump administration's moving to cancel nearly all remaining financial contracts with the school. Earlier, the threat was to end more than $2.5 billion in research grants to Harvard. And from the White House, CBS's Aaron Navarro reports National Public Radio has gone to court, suing over a Trump executive order designed to end federal funding.
In that lawsuit, NPR writes the order's objectives cannot be clear. It aims to punish NPR for the content of news and other programming the president dislikes and chill the free exercise of First Amendment rights.
An intense Russian bombing campaign in Ukraine eased up today. President Trump has blasted Russia's Vladimir Putin as crazy over the stepped-up bombardments, but has taken no new action. CBS's Natalie Brand.
Congressman Don Bacon is among Republicans on Capitol Hill calling on the Trump administration to impose new sanctions. He says peace talks are having zero effect on Putin, and the U.S. and allies must arm Ukraine to the teeth and sanction Russia to the max.
Authorities in Liverpool, England, say the driver of a van that rammed into soccer fans yesterday has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. This woman saw it all happen.
I just can't fathom why anybody would do that to get people hurt, especially the amount of children that were there. It's just really scary.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 660 points. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Could it be round two of a clash between protest groups in Seattle? That story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In DuPont, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 northbound at Mounts Road. Not seeing a huge backup there just yet. In Renton, a crash is blocking one lane now on southbound I-405 at 44th. You're backed up to the Lake Hills connector in Bellevue, and travel time from Bellevue to Renton, almost 50 minutes. That's 35 more than usual. Your other slow spot has been Olympia to Tacoma. That's taking about 37 minutes now, only 5 longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Conservative religious groups and LGBTQ advocates clash in Seattle's Cal Anderson Park. Video posted on social media showing the chaos over the weekend. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey reports.
23 people protesting the event, calling it anti-transgender, were arrested after police say they turned violent. Local church leaders like Pastor Russell Johnson with Pursuit Northwest are now demanding the mayor quit after he vowed to review the city's permitting process.
He's blaming the people who are on the receiving end of unchecked violence.
Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Mayor Bruce Harrell also claimed anarchists infiltrated the counter-protests, sparking violence. Conservative groups and counter-protesters both plan to show up at City Hall this afternoon. We'll let you know what happens. The trial continues today for the driver accused of hitting and killing Trooper Christopher Gadd on I-5 in Marysville last year. Prosecutors told the jury Raul Benitez Santana was going 104 miles per hour and was impaired at the time.
Mr. Benitez Santana said, he had a drink around 10 that night and had smoked some marijuana or weed.
Defense attorneys say he mistook the shoulder for a lane where Gadd was parked in the dark and the rain with all his lights out. 2 Burian families are making repairs after they say a speeding car slammed into their homes yesterday. KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman reports.
Although it's still hard to believe.
Never in my life have I ever seen anything even close to that.
And 2 families are left picking up what they can.
Yep, thanks, bud. That was a coat hanger.
Everyone in this neighborhood would say what's important here.
Nobody was in the house except for the dog, and she escaped any harm.
The only thing we can do is just rebuild. Thank God nobody got injured.
Well, the driver was detained after they pulled that vehicle out, and of course the cause of this crash is still under investigation.
A water main break shuts down a busy intersection in Bellevue.
There's a hole in the ground at 148th and 20th.
The city's Michaeline Fowler's crews found the source of that break. Water service has been restored to some of the business customers there. Crews are working to restore all of it. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the low 70s, highs in the 80s tomorrow. It is 60 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Yeah. Happy Tuesday. May 27th, Chef tried to set me up with the Monday up on here, but that's not working. Welcome in to the Gee and Ursula Show. The question of the day now has turned to this. This is quite simple. If the barbecue and or get together, if it starts at 3 p.m., what time are you getting there? And Ursula, from here on out, I'm playing no games. I'm getting there at 3:05, and I have no problem being the first one to eat.
Are you also the first one to leave if you get there the earliest?
I had that option, not necessarily, but I had that option.
Question.
Yeah.
Not only what time are you going to the barbecue, but what are you bringing? Are you coming with arms swinging?
No, you can't come empty-handed. You don't want that reputation, and I want to give my boy Mike Bible some love. He finally brought something to the party.
I love how you name him, give his full name as the guy who initially used to come with arms swinging.
What time you getting there, Ursula?
Okay. Well, I told you over the weekend I got there at 3:40. That was a little bit...
All right.
I wasn't the last one, but I was one of the last ones.
Well, make sure our next guest that's going to be joining us, make sure you ask them that first question.
Okay, will do.
What's new at 10?
Okay, it seems like everyone in the Puget Sound region knows the name Cal Anderson Park, not just because it is a gorgeous park in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle, but also it has become the premier protesters meet police destination this side of the Rockies. Case in point, over the weekend, Cal Anderson once again became the backdrop for a high-octane clash, this time between far-right Christian extremists and LGBTQ counter-protesters. We got into all of it in the first part of our show today, but there's going to be more because there's going to be more action today. What happened? Who showed up? Where does this leave us? KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with the details.
Well, we've got three sides of this whole debate and issue coming together. At least. Coming together today. And there's going to be a showdown. Something's going to happen outside City Hall in Seattle about 4 p.m. is when it's going to start. So here are the groups we're talking about. Conservative religious groups or leaders are going to be there, they say. Counter-protesters, the same counter-protesters that were at Cal Anderson Park, say they're going to be there in front of City Hall. And I put Seattle Police in there as well after the Seattle Police Guild, the union, injected themselves into this whole debate and issue over the weekend. So let's get this. Let's talk about the conservative religious leaders, church leaders in the area.
Is
like
Matt
Pastor.
Shea gonna be there?
Well, I don't know.
That's a former representative, extremist views. Look him up. Okay.
Pastor Russell Johnson, though, with Pursuit Northwest, the church here, he says he will be there with people. They put out a flyer today calling their rally the Rattle in Seattle and said, let's come on down to City Hall. And they're going to demand that Mayor Bruce Harrell quit after this weekend's violent protest in Cal Anderson Park. And here's what the pastor had to say.
The mayor's office has created a crisis in the city by virtue of their ideological drive to punish religious people and support violent extremism.
So when they came out with their flyer, counter-protesters who were there over the weekend came out with their own flyer and posted it on social media, calling this group a bunch of bigots and said, let's go down there. They're anti-transgender and anti-queer. Let's all meet at City Hall at 4 p.m. today to counter-protest. And then let's talk about who's caught in the middle here, perhaps Seattle Police. The Seattle Police Officers Guild said over the weekend in a statement that, they're questioning the city. Why would you allow a rally like this to happen in the first place at Cal Anderson Park? Because our officers get in the middle of it, and you know how potentially explosive things could get. And they called Capitol Hill and Cal Anderson Park the, quote, heart of Antifa land. So they have now injected themselves into this debate. And again, all three groups will be together again at 4 p.m. at City Hall in Seattle.
Okay, so ultimately 23 people were arrested, right?
Arrested over the weekend.
Okay,
That's
and
right.
some of them ended up staying overnight in
some
jail.
have been released, and some are presumably still there.
Okay, and as of right now, we don't know of any felony charges. No, there have been no referrals for any felony charges.
Don't know. The mayor did say, there was an element among the 23 and among all the protesters who were there who were, quote, anarchists, in his words. He said in a statement they kind of were the violent side of things, and they were throwing objects at police.
Yeah, which is not okay.
And police responded with pepper spray and handcuffs and arrests.
And then now there are people who are accusing police of brutality and overreaction, et cetera. So, I mean, we've seen this play out before, and I don't know if in the last hour you had any sort of change, because ultimately we think there are no winners in this, except for maybe one.
Who was that? Who's the winner?
The group that is trying to promote the hate.
Well, they call it the Rattle in Seattle. That's right. Correct. And at 4 o'clock today.
No, I think it's later than that.
Well, the Rattle in Seattle said they would start at 5. Counter protesters said, let's be there at 4.
Okay. So the Rattle in Seattle folks, they're going to be there at 5.
That's what they say.
And those are the far right, the Christian group, right?
Correct.
Ursula, I'm assuming that they are just coming there just to pray. They're coming there to not judge. They're coming there to really be an example, to be good stewards of the world. My message for the mayor is, bro, don't even be there. Let them go ahead, do their thing. Don't even come out. Don't react. Don't anything, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to come out there. And then when the counter protesters, you all show up there at 4 o'clock, I would, cool if you want to show up there, but outsmart them. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't, like, stand somewhere, outsmart them. Don't, this time, let them get arrested.
This is happening right outside City Hall. I'm just trying to imagine this whole thing. If the same number of people are showing up as showed up on Saturday, we're talking about hundreds on each side, correct?
Correct. And there was like 500 there at the rally itself, which was the May Day USA rally.
Right.
The Christian conservative rally.
Okay, so for one thing, I will say, and this is my criticism for the mayor, I think his initial statement on Saturday was slightly misguided. I think that his heart was in the right place, but unfortunately, the ultra-conservative groups that had the initial rally before the violence erupted, they had a permit.
Mm-hmm.
And they allegedly tried to get in, and Luke, check me if I'm wrong, they initially asked to be able to hold the rally at Victor Steinberg Park.
That's right.
Near Pike Place Market. And they were told, no, it's going to be too big. That's not going to work. But you can do it at Cal Anderson Park. So this idea of them choosing it to be additionally provocative doesn't quite hold up, because they initially wanted to be at Pike Place Market, right? So it's not like they were... So the mayor made it sound like they chose Cal Anderson Park knowing that it was in the heart of the LGBTQ community. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Whose decision was it?
Right.
And I think the mayor would tell you he's looking into it.
Yes.
And how did who made what decision and how did it happen?
Yes, because as much as I hate the message, as I said, as much as I hate the message of the ultra right-wing groups, and I don't think it sounds very Christian-like, and to try to oppress or antagonize an already marginalized group, I think is just not Christian-like.
Yeah.
They do have a right to free speech.
They do.
And they do have a right to protest. And once it became violent, it all got lost. So, sure. And then, quite frankly, SPOG, I'm just tired of them and their incendiary comments. Like, what was that? Why was that even necessary for SPOG to now call it, you know what, police have to patrol Cal Anderson Park too.
What is the purpose of SPOG? I have not met anyone personally that's like, yeah, man, they do such a good job. Like, what message do they use?
I have been told that they are a necessary evil, that no one likes the head of the police union.
Nobody likes Mike Solon?
Yeah.
Nobody likes him?
Well, that's according to some officers that talk to me. But they feel like he is the one who is going to continue to antagonize. Exactly. And they're in the middle of still trying to negotiate, and they're unhappy with the city.
Crazy how money sways things.
Yeah. But Luke, so are we hearing from police in terms of how they're going to handle what's going to happen today potentially?
Nothing from police, but if the weekend was any indication, it's not as though they were taken by surprise. If you look at the video, you see police in gear they were ready for something. I would not be surprised if they had officers on the standby in different areas ready to go in case things get violent again, and have officers. You can never see them. You don't know where they are when you're in these protests and in these marches and in these areas, but they're around. You can rest assured because they just show up when stuff hits the fan. Any
sign from the mayor that he's ready to quit? Actually, Chef, do you mind reaching out to Mayor Harrell's office? It's been a long time since we've been put on the show.
He did say in his statement, the mayor did say in part of his statement that he will not be intimidated.
Right.
So there is that, but nothing lately leading up to today. But again, it's going to be a showdown today outside City Hall.
Thanks, Luke. It is wild to me that the mayor hasn't been on our show in like a year.
He told us at the beginning of his tenure that he would join us even when the conversations became very difficult. So Mayor Harrell, if you're listening right now, and I know that at least people from your office do listen if you're not listening yourself, Mayor, you have an open invitation. We would love to talk to you about this.
The fairest show there is. By the way, I almost laughed a second ago, Anthony in Tacoma, because Luke explained how the counter-protesters will be there at 4 o'clock, and Anthony in Tacoma says they should be there at 4:05.
There you go. According to Gee's rules.
Anthony, you win, man. You win.
Luke, thank you. Well, I know that we'll be covering it, and we'll make sure that we bring you any new details.
Luke, I like your haircut, man.
Hey, thank you very much. It was about time.
Yeah. Am I the only one that noticed it?
If you're looking on YouTube, tell me, does Luke look like Clark Kent?
Yes. Yes, he does.
Okay, take a look. Check it out on YouTube. I think so. Look.
And Ursula, you have to say, it's me, Lois. Lois Lane. Okay, I'm there now.
Okay, now we've lost it. All right. Thanks, Luke. Okay, let's go back to something serious because a flight from Tokyo to Houston had to make an emergency landing at SeaTac over the weekend after a passenger reportedly tried to open the emergency exit midair. So this was a United Airlines flight. It was about 4 hours away from landing when passengers say this guy suddenly stood up, climbed over others in his row, and then went straight for the exit door. And that's when 2 military veterans on board jumped into action, tackling this guy and zip tying him to a seat until the plane could divert safely to Seattle. Fox 26 spoke with one of the passengers.
So the guy was sitting behind me directly. He actually got up out of his seat and crawled over the people that were sitting next to him. And he got up in a hurry, so I just assumed he was sick.
Ashley took these videos. She tells me over the phone the man went for the emergency exit. And once he did, 2 men jumped into action.
And they brought him back to the seats, and they actually set him down and zip-tied him to the seats directly behind me.
Wow. So who tied him to the seats?
It was actually 2 citizens, so 2 veterans. One said, I believe he was in the Navy. The other one, I didn't catch which service he was in, but he was in for a long time.
How long was he restrained in zip ties?
It was a good hour and a half or so.
Wow. So an hour and a half, you're sitting there with this man who tried to open the emergency exit, zip tied to a seat behind you.
Yes, but I won't be sitting in an exit seat in the future.
Okay, so Gee, as crazy as that one was, as the plane touched down, there was another passenger who started acting erratically. And so they were like, okay, are these 2 connected? So authorities ended up questioning both of them, and they were both escorted off this plane at SeaTac again. But it turns out the first passenger was having a medical crisis and was taken to a hospital. We're still waiting charges. But, okay, I know you don't sit. I often get asked if I am willing to sit in an emergency exit row, and I love being there because you have way more room. And, you just have to answer the question at the beginning.
Just your seat don't recline.
That's true, but, you know so often I don't like, but you have all sorts of leg room.
You do.
And all sorts of room to put your stuff away. Right? So I do like that. But what are you doing if you see someone running for the emergency exit and trying to open it mid-flight?
Yeah, I'm going to beat you down. I usually mind my business on a lot of things.
Yes.
But if I mean, look, 2001, and it's not a joke. Like not a joke at all. If I see you trying to do something like that, I am going to do. By the way, they had zip ties?
Yeah, I think the airlines actually provide those. The airlines have those because sometimes they have to restrain unruly passengers.
No, but how about the?
Yeah, so I think they probably got it from the flight.
Oh,
check me if I'm wrong on that.
Because I'm just about to say.
Because I've heard of other situations where an unruly passenger has had to be zip tied.
I don't know.
But the fact that I love that there were military veterans who were just ready to jump in. That's where I always like to get on a plane, and if I see some burly dude or someone in uniform, I want to sit.
Somebody looking like me.
Exactly. I want to sit there. Okay.
Somebody looking like me.
Yes. If I saw, I'd be like, gee, I want to sit by you. Okay.
Ursula.
Yes.
Have you ever seen when somebody's sitting in the exit row and they're not supposed to be, like it's a kid?
Yeah. Well,
and then the flight attendant gets on and they're like,
never be a kid.
We're looking for a passenger who's willing to sit in the exit row. And there's always that guy that stands up and he's like, I am willing and able to help in an emergency.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
love
volunteer as tribute.
Yes. Okay. A question, though, and maybe a lot of you don't know the answer to this, and I just looked it up, because can you actually open an emergency exit door when you're 30,000 feet in the air?
No, I don't think so.
You can't.
The pressure. You can't.
Exactly.
You
You
can't,
can't
the
because
pressure.
of the pressure. Now,
But if you tried, though, even though I know you can't open it,
yes.
I'm a smack the
Yeah, and
out
so
of
this
you.
plane was 4 hours in. Yeah, because if you're not getting out of the emergency exit, what else are you going to be trying to do? So you want to control that person.
Right.
However, there was a situation where someone was on a plane that was just 800 feet off the ground, close to landing,
Right.
and tried to open them. Now, then it can open because there's no pressure.
Right. Right.
Then it's a major issue. But in case anyone was wondering, like, hey, can they open the emergency exit door while we're up there and all of us get sucked out? No.
Right. Can I give a sweeping statement? Sweeping statement. If you or anyone you knows walks around with zip ties, I'm not messing with that person. Anybody walking around with zip ties, you don't want to mess
You
with.
are prepared.
Hey, man.
You're prepared for all sorts of things.
That person has a different outlook on things. If you just walk around, it's one thing to walk around with a pocket knife. That's different. But zip ties?
I keep them in the car all the time.
Again,
Zip ties.
These vets were not walking around with the zip ties. I know that the flight attendants probably said, "Here you go."
I don't think they let you take those through security, do they? Sir, you have a whole package of zip ties. What's your plan?
I know what you're thinking too. It's either you're really kinky or
Hey.
yeah,
Hey,
or
listen,
you're up to some trouble.
if he pulls up to the first date with zip ties, do not make that a second date. Coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show. Have y'all seen what happened with the French president? I don't speak the language, but universally, I speak what was on his face and understand. We talk about it next. Gee and Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
KIRO Newsradio, winners of 3 2025 Regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Feature reporting, sports reporting, and overall excellence.
And we thank you. We are the Northwest leading news station because of you, inspiring us every day to deliver the local news and stories you care about.
KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM.
Watch and listen anywhere by downloading the KIRO Newsradio app, and always stay connected at mynorthwest.com.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Bundle Deal Days at AutoZone.
Well, I do need a bundle of things.
When you bundle, you save.
Do I save if I bundle oil with an oil filter?
Save up to $12 on that bundle.
What about brake pads and rotors?
Bundle those and the brake pads are free.
Can't save more than free.
You can save on hundreds of deals during Bundle Deal Days. Ends June 2nd at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Duralast brake pads only.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
G. Scott here with former Seahawks Cliff Averill and Doug Baldwin. I heard you guys are having a celebrity pickleball tournament to raise money for Nourishing Champions. Why pickleball?
Obviously, it's a growing sport, but also this model is that we will actually be playing with community.
We are the most competitive people, so regardless of how sorry Doug might be, he will be out there competing like it's a Super Bowl.
Sign up for the Celebrity Pickleball Tournament, open to all skill levels. For details, go to championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
Do you notice sounds coming from your crawl space or attic, or possibly stale or foul odors in your home? This could be that rodents have gotten into your attic and crawl and have made it their home. They tear up the insulation to make nests to have babies. They contaminate it with their biological waste, which can be harmful to your health. And they ruin your home's energy blanket, costing you thousands of dollars a year. If you even think you may have a problem, call Insulation Northwest today, and we will come to your home as soon as tomorrow and perform a free, no-obligation inspection to determine what the problem is. This inspection normally costs $199, but it's yours free just for calling today. If we discover any problem with rodents in your home, we can get them out and keep them out and restore your home's protective insulation blanket back to brand new condition. Let Insulation Northwest give peace and comfort back to you and your family and save you thousands of dollars in energy savings. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to longevity, but the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to LongevityMedicalClinic.com. That's LongevityMedicalClinic.com. The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. That's Revive, REVIBE, menshealth.com.
KIRO Newsradio. Breaking news.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle Sonic star Shawn Kemp has pleaded guilty to second-degree assault for a shooting outside the Tacoma Mall in 2023. The 55-year-old was originally charged with first-degree assault and other charges that the Seattle Times points out could have resulted in a lengthy criminal sentence. Defense attorneys say Kemp was trying to get stolen property back and fired in self-defense. Auburn police are investigating a deadly shooting that happened in the Lee Hill neighborhood just after midnight. Officer Colby Crossley
We do believe that this was a targeted attack. We also believe that there was more than one shooter, so we're looking for multiple suspects.
No arrests yet. Last Wednesday, about a mile away, police say a gunman rode up to the entrance of a mobile home park on a dirt bike and shot a 17-year-old boy. That victim was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. A deadly fire in Lacey. It happened in the 3900 block of 21st Avenue Southeast. Firefighters say by the time they got to a mobile home there, it was fully engulfed in flames. A 17-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl died. A 44-year-old woman has been hospitalized. Police believe they were the only people in the home at the time. No cause for that fire yet. Changes to the COVID-19 recommendations from the federal government. CBS News' Alexandra Tin.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says the CDC will be removing its recommendation for children and pregnant women to be vaccinated for COVID-19. The CDC experts were weighing continued recommendations for pregnant women to be vaccinated given their higher risk of severe COVID-19 and the ability of the vaccines to pass immunity on to their newborns.
The Trump administration is telling federal agencies to cancel their government contracts with Harvard. Harvard political science professor Ryan Enos.
They're sucking everything they can out of Harvard as part of this political grievance they have.
Harvard is suing the Trump administration, saying the funding freeze is part of the government's efforts to control policy at the school. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 646 points, NASDAQ ahead 438. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, a crash is blocking a lane on State Route 167 southbound near 66th Avenue East. In DuPont, the crash has been cleared from I-5 northbound at Mounts Road. In Renton, a crash is blocking one lane now on southbound I-405 at 44th. You're backed up to Crossroads in Bellevue. Travel time Bellevue to Renton almost 39 minutes. Your other slow spot has been Olympia to Tacoma. That's taking about 35 minutes now, only a few minutes longer than usual. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny today with highs in the low 70s. Highs tomorrow into the 80s. Right now it's 60 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show, and when you hear breaking news on our show, we are going to react to it. And you just heard Heather's newscast, and you heard that ex-Sonic star Shawn Kemp has just pled guilty to second-degree assault in a Pierce County courtroom. And this was for that incident in where he shot at two men who were inside a vehicle outside the Tacoma Mall in the parking lot. And he was trying to get some stuff back that he said was stolen in an earlier car prowl. And you had a lot of reaction to it when it first happened. And
I still got a lot of reaction.
You have a lot of reaction. So I want to hear let me give you a few details as to why he did this. So initially he was charged with first-degree assault with a firearm enhancement. But then last week, prosecutors amended the charges to give an array of different charges. So they added the second first-degree assault charge, also with a firearm enhancement, as well as drive-by shooting. So had he been convicted of those charges, he could have faced a long sentence. So today, he pled guilty to a lesser charge, and his attorney says, and this is in the Seattle Times, his attorney says, Shawn is committed to moving forward in a positive direction. He was presented with an offer from the state that allows him to take responsibility, but also recognizes the self-defense nature of how all of this transpired.
Yeah, good for Shawn. Good for Shawn taking accountability for his actions. There are consequences to doing those things. And if Shawn was sitting right here, and by the way, Shawn's a good dude. Good dude. Made a dumb mistake. Too old to be doing dumb things like that. Going to a parking lot to shoot at someone because they stole your things. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up, and the reason why this morning, and by the way, I had no idea this was going to go down like that, but this morning with Chef and Ursula, I really kind of got a little emotional about this because here's what's happening. And Ursula, I had a long conversation with Amar Murphy Payne's father, Aaron, and we talked for a long time last week.
For people who don't know who that is.
Amar Murphy Payne is the young man who a year ago was tragically shot and killed right there at Garfield as he was breaking up a fight and kind of coming at the protection of a freshman. And still to this day, there is still no accountability. Nobody has been brought to justice for that. And to have a conversation with that father, and it wasn't just a conversation with him that I want to talk about, it's just this nature right now that we are having. Ursula, what's happening is this. Me on my radio show and us on social media, how we talk about things out here, we talk about it in a fake way on social media, but in our homes, we talk about it in a different way. And here's what I mean. The Shawn Kemp situation, right? We get on there and we're like, oh, you know, Shawn Kemp, he's done a lot for the community and this, and, you know, he has. Shawn Kemp's done a lot for the community. Shawn Kemp's a good dude. But there are consequences, and we have a problem with guns right now where sometimes innocent people are shot and killed because of reckless behavior. Now, thankfully, no one was killed in that parking lot that day. But what if there had been?
Right.
So are you going to come on and you're going to say, well, sorry that person lost their life, but I want to just say that Shawn Kemp's done a lot in the community. And so this isn't an attack on Shawn at all. This is a point that I am making. We cannot pick and choose who we want to be like, well, this person, you got to cut him some slack. No, we're not cutting slack no more. You want to know why? Because we are tired of losing people to gun violence.
Mm-hmm. And the message should be, even someone like Shawn Kemp, as good of a dude as he is, he made a stupid mistake. And get this. The people, so Kemp was saying that the people who were in that Forerunner were not only allegedly stole some of his stuff, but they were not good people. And as it turns out, the two men inside that Forerunner do have criminal histories, long criminal histories. They're now serving prison sentences in other cases. So they may have been bad dudes. But Shawn, again, call 911.
Yes.
You didn't need to do your own police work and go out there and put other people in jeopardy. Now, that information may help him in sentencing, so I think he did the right thing. Yeah, plead guilty, take your ownership because you did something stupid.
Right. And by the way, like you said, Ursula, you might be right. They're obviously bad dudes.
Yeah.
These obviously are dudes.
And maybe that could play in your sentencing.
But at what age, and this is a question for all of us, at what age are you not about to get outside of your element and go there and respond in that way? You can't do that. And when you're close to 60 years old, come on 55, now.
Yeah.
You can't do this. And so the reason why I'm talking about this is because this type of behavior, this is why we keep losing people to gun violence. Don't cherry pick this topic. You got to have a real discussion about these topics. And the reason why we are not getting anywhere, Ursula, you know why we're not getting anywhere? Because when people get on here and we talk about it on social media, we'll say things like, oh, free my cousin. He was such a good person. I'm sure he might have been a good person, but he killed that person.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Like, yeah.
We
no.
can't.
I mean, and there were people who came to Shawn's defense, even former Sonics players, who were coming to his defense saying, you know, he is this really good person, et cetera. I mean, I shared with you the story about Shawn Kemp, and for people who haven't heard it, Shawn Kemp came to my rescue one time. I was at Seattle Center, and there was a hothead in a convertible, a fancy convertible behind me who didn't think I was moving fast enough in my car and actually physically got out of his vehicle, came up to my driver's side window and started yelling and screaming at me while I was stopped at Seattle Center. And it was Shawn Kemp who drove up and rolled down the window and said, "Are you okay?" You know, and it was very sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good dude. Made a stupid mistake.
Right.
Should he get his guns back? Because as a Class B felony, that's second-degree assault, you can apply to get them back after 5 years. If they went Class A, first-degree assault, ineligible to ever get them back.
And I want to say something. And so here's another example before we leave out of this topic. We also pick and choose when we say, well, someone's a good dude, or someone's a good person, but. So if that's the case, just remember this. when a lot of these crimes are committed by someone, some of these violent crimes, you know there's elements to them that at one point they were a good person too. They might have been the person that took their kids to school every single day, but they committed a violent crime outside of that. So it's crazy. All right.
Okay, text us. What do you think?
I'm a little emotional about this topic.
888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. We were going to talk about the president of France and what happened on that plane.
Yeah.
Let's move that to 11:30.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that because I think it's an important thing. It's an important thing to discuss. And if you haven't seen the video, look at that, and then you could be part of the discussion coming up at 11:30.
All right. We'll do scenarios next.
Why local news matters.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here.
So in April, we did a story on this rehab facility called Pushing Boundaries. They've helped thousands of people recovering from brain injuries on the brink of closing shop after months of dwindling donations. When just days later, they started getting donations and they raised $200,000 they needed thanks to our listeners to stay open.
KIRO News Radio.
We've got some great listeners out there.
On 97.3 FM. And download the KIRO News Radio app.
This is Jill Schlesinger. May is Military Appreciation Month, and I know how much I appreciate the military. I married into a military family. I hear from so many members of the military. And Navy Federal Credit Union wants us to celebrate those who go above and beyond for us every day. If you're active duty, a veteran, or part of a military family, you're eligible to join. At Navy Federal Credit Union, the members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And if you love animals, you're part of our world. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
Spike O'Neill for Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens. And let me tell you, everything is my eyes, everything. The vision is everything in your life. But when your eyes start to go, it affects everything you do. And I had lost quality of vision over the years, began to need readers, began to lose readers faster than I could buy them. I knew it was time to get my eyes looked at. So I went to the offices over in Bellevue, Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens. They gave me a comprehensive eye exam, told me exactly what my situation was, the beginning of cataract in my eye, and I was a perfect candidate for RLE, refractive lens exchange. They answered all my questions. I had the same care team from the start of my simple procedure in half an afternoon, and I was cared for. My anxieties were eased. The procedure went smooth as glass, and I got to tell you, I've got better eyes than I've ever had in my life. I've got 20/10 vision. I see brighter colors. I see sharper images, and I will never need readers, and I will never develop cataract. They are the future of RLE surgeries. Over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. Give them a call at 425-451-2020. That's 425-451-2020, or online at sharp-vision.com, sharp with an e-vision.com, official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
Dayandnight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
Dayandnight.net.
Plumbing emergency? Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
Dayandnight.net.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X5 Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Opensignal Awards, USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
There's 6 markets you can place your money in. Research suggests it's better to have exposure to all 6 markets. Don't miss a potential opportunity because you didn't strategically diversify your assets. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Request your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing in your portfolio. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
Cars for Kids, your trusted charity for car donations, also accepts donations of boats, RVs, motorcycles, and real estate. Call today, 877-CARS4KIDS.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
It is Gee Ursula Show. Good morning. Let's get to scenarios.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
I've been married for 20 years. It's a good marriage, but my husband is very tight with money. He would rather eat rat poison than spend anything. Well, about a year ago, he let me be in control of the bank accounts. Now, without telling them, I invested a little much in the stock market. I mean, very aggressively, stock options, all kinds of stuff, day trading. It was fine at first, and then it went all wrong. So I tried buying options to get the losses back. I've now lost $125,000 of our money. If he finds out, he will freak out and probably leave me. He asks for statements, and I fabricate them on the computer. He has no idea. This is eating me up inside, and I really don't know what to do. And I know you guys are going to tell me to just fess up, but it's harder than you think. I feel like I'm drowning. Help. 888-973-5476. Ursula, you have to bat first.
Fess up. And yeah, it is going to be hard. But what's going to be even harder is the longer you continue to chase your losses and the deeper and deeper you get, it's going to just get that much worse. It's going to take a while for you to rebuild the trust, if you can, after saying, what you did and fessing up to what you did. But you have a better chance of repairing the relationship after that. I mean, the whole thing about he would rather eat rat poison, I'm sure that was an exaggeration. But I understand. In a couple, there's always one that spends more or is a little looser with the money.
Really?
In my relationship, that would be me. That said, if I went crazy like that and wasn't forthcoming, I would totally understand why my husband would not trust me, and it would take a while to repair the damage. But my suggestion would never be to keep quiet about it and try to fix it. That would not be the suggestion.
You know what fixing it looks like, right? So first you try the options fail. Then you go to the casino fails to return your money. Then you start borrowing out the till at work, embezzling funds. That doesn't work either because you're still going back to the casino. And then you end up with what? Like a mob boss trying to loan you money and breaking your knuckles or taking your life?
It's not going to end well.
That being said, people think it is a more rational decision to do that than it is to have to confront the shame of fessing up. I mean, like what I've said this before, but before Gabby and I got married, like $50,000 in credit card debt, or actually it was actually tax debt from working as an independent contractor, and I avoided that conversation like the plague for as long as I possibly could, because when you're in the hole that much, you're almost incapable of thinking rationally because you're living in a constant sense of panic and shame and guilt.
And then you do more and more outrageous
Yes.
things to try to compensate for
Yes.
that. I mean, she basically gambled initially with their money, and should have just stopped at the $150,000 and say, "Look, I know you trusted me, and I screwed this up, and this is where we're at."
Every day that you don't fess up, it gets worse. And so that feeling that you have, the feeling, especially because she says, "I feel like I'm drowning." Stop right there. That feeling of feeling like you're drowning, I just want you to know, it will go away once you fess up.
This is true.
So that feeling, and probably the worst is that feeling. It's worse than the fess up. The fess up is easier than the feeling like drowning.
And they've been married for over 20 years, you said?
Yeah.
And if this is the first time that he has handed over the reins of the money to her and she really screwed it up, I mean, hopefully that doesn't negate all 20 years if it's been all good up until then, and then your first foray into this, you screwed it up. You screwed it up big time, and you need to work through it. But the longer you wait to tell, the less of a chance you are going to have to fix that relationship, for sure.
Yeah, it gets bad. All right, Brother Nick, talk to us.
You know, I hate to see someone have to rip the Band-Aid off if there's going to be some pain, but if it's going to cure the long-term disease, you got to go with what's right. And in this case, yes, it's important to let him know that you dropped the cliff with your finances made in your hands. And if love and hope springs eternal, this will be fine in the end. I can't say he'll have an episode or moment, though, hearing that big figure. Let's put it this way. I think you owe him for the rest of the relationship from this point on.
Oh, listen to you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he'll keep using it too. Yeah, you think I'm going to trust you with the money? Do you remember when?
You know, Ursula, I know this isn't the scenario, but I tell you, when you gave your answer and you was talking about there usually is one person.
Oh, I said that with confidence, didn't I?
You sure did.
Yeah, am I wrong?
Oh, no.
There's
Are
usually.
you wrong?
Well, I'm asking with you.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Is there one person who is tighter with the purse strings than the other in your relationship?
Absolutely.
Let me guess. The person who doesn't have an entire wardrobe room might be the person who's a little tighter.
Yeah. The person who, when we first got together, when I was pumping gas, hey, can you round that up to the dollar? Like, what? This is bad. All right, good stuff. We got a lot going on in the 11 o'clock hour. At 11:30, a French president says, no, we were just playing around. So I wanted to see what you all think about that. If you see the video, if you haven't, look up that video because we're going to be talking about it. Look up the French president getting off the airplane. He and his wife were having a conversation. But up next, agree to disagree. Gee Ursula.
You never know what's in store each morning once you hit the road.
We've got a major traffic alert in effect right now.
Well, you're getting ready every morning. Make us part of your routine.
What morning, huh?
Yeah. Got off to an early start.
Just tell your smart speaker to play KIRO News Radio or stream us on the app.
Both directions of I-5 are closed.
We'll help you get where you're going faster.
Maybe bail at 512.
KIRO News Radio. We're on your smart speaker, the app, and 97.3 FM.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-961-5544. 800-961-5544.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise. There's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. There are new changes to the government's recommendations on who should get COVID vaccines. CBS's Alexander Tin reports.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says the CDC will now be removing its recommendation for children and pregnant women to be vaccinated for COVID-19. Kennedy's move could significantly limit access to the shots since CDC's recommendations govern rules on what health insurers are required to cover, access to the shots through government programs that cover uninsured children, and liability protections for use of the vaccines.
The Trump administration intends to cancel all remaining financial contracts with Harvard. CBS's Nancy Cordes has that.
There are 9 federal agencies that still have contracts with Harvard University, about 30 contracts in all, totaling about $100 million worth. And these are a variety of contracts that the Trump administration now wants to see wound down.
The administration is also working on expanding screening and social media vetting for foreign students applying for visas to study in this country. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is instructing U.S. embassies not to schedule any new student visa application appointments. Aaron Navarro reports President Trump is lashing out at Russian President Putin again.
President Trump posted on Truth Social saying, quote, "What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia." He said, quote, "He's playing with fire."
Trump posted over the weekend that Putin was acting crazy. Russia launched some of the biggest strikes against Ukraine since the war began. In South Gaza, a U.S.-backed group opened a new aid distribution point that became chaotic as thousands of Palestinians rushed to get food and medicine. Gunfire was heard. Linda Gradstein reports.
The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation said its American security contractors fell back to allow what it called a small number of Palestinians to take food. But footage posted to social media showed thousands of Palestinians desperate for food aid overrunning the distribution center in Rafah in southern Gaza, opened just 2 days ago. Hamas has called on Palestinians not to cooperate with the new distribution centers.
The UN has also ruled out any involvement with the group. In Mexico, investigators say they found 17 bodies in an abandoned house in an area plagued by violence. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial is currently up 724 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A Seattle sports legend pleads guilty to a criminal charge. The story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. The crash has been cleared from State Route 167 southbound near 66th Avenue East. And in Reutin, it looks like the crash has been cleared from southbound I-405 at 44th. You're still backed up to about southeast 8th in Bellevue. Travel time Bellevue to Renton is half an hour, 15 longer than usual. And it's slow going on State Route 18. You're jammed from the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. We could see another clash of protesters in Seattle, with opposing groups promising to show up at City Hall this afternoon. But first, nearly 24 people who were arrested after violence erupted at a weekend Seattle rally have faced a judge. KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn was there.
Anger from the weekend arrests in Cal Anderson Park spilled into the hallway at the King County Jail as supporters demanded in to the small courtroom for their friends' bail hearings. The jail guards refused and the group stood down. Nearly 24 people were arrested during a rally sponsored by Mayday USA, a Christian pro-family, pro-two genders organization. A rally the city of Seattle allowed on Capitol Hill, the heart of the LGBTQ plus community.
Mayor Bruce Harrell accused conservative groups of trying to provoke the LGBTQ community around the park. Harrell also blamed the violence on anarchists, whom he said infiltrated the counter-protests. Today, conservative religious groups plan to go to City Hall to demand that Harrell apologize, and counter-protesters say they plan to be there too. We'll let you know what happens. Seattle Sonic star Shawn Kemp has pleaded guilty to second-degree assault for a shooting outside the Tacoma Mall in 2023. Defense attorneys say Kemp was trying to get stolen property back and fired in self-defense. The 55-year-old was originally charged with first-degree assault and other charges that could have resulted in a lengthy criminal sentence. The trial continues today for the driver accused of hitting and killing Trooper Christopher Gadd on I-5 in Marysville last year. The injuries so severe that a witness told the court,
there was blood everywhere. I don't want to go into details. Can I not go into details?
Raul Benitez Santana is charged with vehicular homicide and DUI. He claims he mistook the shoulder where Gadd was parked for a lane. Two families are rebuilding after a car smashed through their homes in Burian. King County deputies say a speeding car hit and went airborne on South 121st Street. People in two homes tell KIRO 7 TV.
Nobody was in the house except for the dog, and she escaped any harm.
The only thing we can do is just rebuild. But thank God nobody got injured.
The driver was arrested. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the low 70s, highs in the 80s tomorrow. It's 63 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Tuesday, May 27th. Good morning, Ursula.
Good morning. Hey, coming up at 11:30, we will have that discussion about, did it go too far? Do you
the
believe
French president?
the president of France and his explanation for what happened on that plane that was seen now by the world? Okay, now, if you're not part of the world and you didn't see it, go look it up because it's all over the place. It's all over social media.
Ursula, I got a show for you that you won't watch.
What's that?
The cold case. It's a cold case of the Tylenol murders.
Oh.
The case against, what is it? Johnson & Johnson back in the day, in the 80s, Tylenol. And so
I lived through the Tylenol murder.
So check this out. I never knew why in my household Tylenol wasn't a thing. Like they would not put Tylenol in our house. And I never knew until yesterday.
What's it called again?
It's on Netflix. It's called The Cold Case of the Tylenol Murders.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But
you're right. It's probably going to be something that I don't watch, but you've got me intrigued at least.
It's a true story.
Yes.
And it's an example of, how can I say this? We know when robbery happens with a gun, we say, oh my goodness. But what happens when it's with a suit in the business attire?
It's looked at in a completely different way with different rules and different sentences.
You've got to see this. And you're going to say to yourself, this really played out? Wait, the chairman of Johnson & Johnson really got a presidential award from Ronald Reagan? It's crazy.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But I know you ain't watching it because you ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
All right, agree to disagree.
After the cruise.
Agree to disagree. Brought to you by Garden Roofing and Gutters.
One of these days, we just got to take off the gloves. Just really go at it.
Johnson & Johnson also settled recently over the talcum powder and the cancer concerns that they knew about for years. All right.
When Johnson & Johnson, when it was time to investigate everything, guess who did the investigation on Johnson & Johnson, Ursula?
We've investigated ourselves and find we did nothing wrong.
It was Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson was in charge of their own investigation.
I always love that when that happens. Oh
okay, go ahead.
That's been the history of so many institutions in our country for so long. All right, let's move on to Magnuson off-leash area, which is by your place, Ursula.
Yes.
In the Seattle Times today, I don't know if you've seen this, folks, out when you're walking dogs, rant to commercial dog walkers that bring 10, 15, or 20 dogs at a time to the off-leash area. There's no way for the dog walkers to control that many dogs at a time. Case in point, the other day, close to 40 dogs were congregated with multiple dog walkers. Vicious dog fight ensued, resulting in one of the dog walkers being bitten until bloody. It was dangerous for everyone, and it happens almost daily at this park. Jeez. What will it take for the city to begin controlling these activities? Now, I don't believe that there's any statute on the books that limits how many dogs one can walk around. But I've seen people with they got the bandolier around their waist belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think there should be some kind of limit?
Yes, I think the limit should be how many you can handle well. And if you are, so I wouldn't put a number on it because there are people who could handle 8 dogs really well, depending on the size and the temperament of each dog. Mm-hmm. And then there are people who would do a horrible job with just 4 dogs. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to put a number limit. It would be you do whatever you think you can handle. But if you can't handle it, there is going to be a ticket for you, a citation. There's going to be a punishment if you are not able to handle your dogs. And then as far as Magnuson Park, we've already established we don't have enough dog parks. But that is a really wonderful park, I think. Right. The times I've taken Scooter there, it is a wonderful park. I would not be happy. I have never gone when all the dog walkers go, because that's during the workday.
Right.
The reason you've got all those people is because Seattle has so many dog owners, but a lot of us work. Mm-hmm. So it's a big business to take all those dogs to the dog park, and I'm glad they're taken to the dog park. Mm-hmm. But if you can't handle them, then yeah, you need to pay a consequence.
Right. I agree. Ursula, this is agree to disagree, and I'm going to take this time to phone a friend.
Oh.
888-973-5476. Hey, text line, I need your help. I don't know what goes on at the dog park. There's no way I can give a legitimate opinion about this in the dog, because I don't know. I don't know if Emily can come there with 5 dogs and maintain.
Oh, no,
She's
they
probably
do.
good.
Oh, they come pulling up in their vans?
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. And then they all just come running out, with the big leash, and then they let them free, and those dogs go crazy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, if you just have your one little tiny pooch, which, by the way, when I used to go, there used to be an area that was for the tinier pooches, so they're not overwhelmed by the big dogs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would be hacked off too if all those dogs with only one person tending to them is, basically those other dogs are terrorizing my little one. Right. Yeah, I'd be upset.
Forget the dog parks even. When I lived on Capitol Hill, they'd be walking around all the time. They walk around in these neighborhoods with like 10 dogs. I shouldn't have to cross the street because you have like 10 dogs attached to you. Maybe that makes me old. It's a pretty lucrative gig, though, if you can get 10, 15, 20 dogs at a time.
What's a bandolier?
A bandolier?
Yeah.
Bandolier would be like the clip of bullets, the chain of bullets that you see like around someone's chest in Rambo. That's a bandolier. Although I'm sure some gun guy is going to correct me.
Well, did you think that there should be a number, though? Do you think there should be a number? What would the
free market?
What would the appropriate number be?
I don't know, 5 or under. I can't believe somebody would have 20.
Here's the thing. You know what?
That's ridiculous.
We will judge people being in situations that are 3 or more, but we won't judge a dog owner having 3 or more.
No, these aren't the dog owners. These are the people who do the walking for the guilty, or that's at least in my case.
You know
those
what I'm
of us
saying?
who feel guilty about leaving the dog at home. You get someone to walk them, but
we don't judge people in thruples.
Yeah, we do.
What does it have to do with this?
Because Gee's mind went there. Zip ties, thruples. Okay.
How is your weekend, Gee? What's on your mind today?
I'm just saying, Nick. You feel me? Like they gonna judge the dog owner, but they don't judge the dog owner, but they always judge other people.
Yeah, always the dog owner.
I think one is bread, one is rice. Not quite the same.
I don't think Nick quite got where you were going with that.
No, he did. He rolled with it. He was kind.
In fairness with Nick, I'm not sure I know where you were going with that.
All right, let's down the sewer of your 37-year career.
Yes.
All right. Scoot on over to the OP. So if you need to call 911 on the Olympic Peninsula, you're going to be talking to the same person no matter when you call 24/7. Okay, you're going to be talking to Eva, and she is an artificial intelligence dispatcher who, according to King 5's coverage, has conversations just like a human. So you talk to the AI screener first. If you have a non-emergency call, which comprises like 50% of the 85,000 calls a year they get, you will continue speaking with Eva. If she picks up keywords indicating some kind of crime or violence has occurred, or your voice is especially stressed, then you'll get booted over to a human who will take over from there. So you don't have to go through some kind of a menu, but you do have to go through Eva, G. What do you think about AI handling the front lines of the 911 calls?
We cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. This is where we are, Ursula. More and more. Look, first of all, before we have been talking to computer animated customer service for a little while now. And not just AI, but there've been situations where you've called customer service before. Please press 1.
Yeah.
And you go through it, and then you're like, no, I want to talk to a person. 0. You keep hitting 0. Yes, first, if you could just tell us the nature of your call, and they keep hitting 0. So we keep doing that. I like to talk to the person. I get frustrated talking to the computer. However, you all know this is where we're going. And we're going to go to a situation where AI is sometimes better than Steve, who had too many drinks the night before.
But what you just describes so many of my encounters with those. Press 1 if you want to ask about your account. Press 2 if you want to hear the balance again. You know, whatever it is. It's like, no, I want none of those. I need to talk to a person. Now,
I agree.
If AI over on the Olympic Peninsula is that way, and I've got an emergency, and they're making it like it's non-emergency, I would want to know how it. I agree that that's the direction we're going to go. I would want to know how it works and how it's working, and how quickly are they going to be looking at feedback as to how well it's working before they expand it any further. Know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I have legitimate concerns about
big
this.
Concerns.
Like, for one, do they need to identify themselves as an AI first? And if they do, how's that going to throw older people for a loop when they start talking to a robot, right? 2, if you're screening calls, how far into that call does it take you before the robot realizes, oh, I've been shot? Because 911 is not a phone tree. It works completely the opposite. As soon as you call 911, it's 911, it's your emergency. And then that human knows how to tease information out of you. Where are you at? What's your emergency? What's going on? I don't know if AI will operate the same way. And any barrier that you place between someone who's calling for help, who is in a real emergency, I worry could have real harm.
Yes.
And I also worry that you're going to have people calling up 911 like, oh, hey, there's AI on 911 on the peninsula. I wonder what that sounds like.
You know what, Ursula, your children have careers right now, and my children kind of have careers, and I want to ask this to you parents out there, and this is a very serious question, or you all that have young teens and 20-somethings in your family. What advice are you giving today? Because you see AI, and you see now it's being Microsoft just laid off how many 6,000 recently, all over the country, all over the world. I am telling people, trade school, tech school. You need to go and pick up some type of trade because what are you going to go to school for now? If you go to a 4-year degree, if you're not going to be an engineer, or if you're not going to be a doctor or a lawyer, what would you suggest, Ursula, going to school for?
Well, great question. And what I would suggest is pursue your passions, whatever they might be, but make sure that you do get, whether it's in trade school or whatever it is, get good at something. What I tell our sons right now, because they're already done with school and they are in great careers.
Yeah.
But one son is actually going back to school. He's going to get an MBA, and he's trying to anticipate what it would be that would be needed in the future, looking at the trajectory of AI. And the other thing is critical thinking skills and knowing how to act, react, adapt, change, pivot, all those things, and work with people. I mean, those are the things that I couldn't tell you what's going to be big in 10 years from now. But if you pursue your passions and also make sure that you are able to adapt and you can apply critical thinking skills, I think those are all great. I mean, if that makes any sense. Because
yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does. But I just wonder if people are having these discussions.
Yes.
Because on our show, we're going to be talking a lot about this. Chef bringing a story about AI and 911 calls. Right now, we are being faced with situations where we are seeing AI phase out jobs.
Yes. Okay, I shared with you guys. Okay, let's just pull back the curtain a little, because recently, I think I told you our sons were having problems with their landlord.
Okay.
And Eric was able to plug in some stuff in AI that would have taken hours and hours to do if he didn't use AI, and basically the artificial intelligence was able to come up with a letter to the landlord that used RCWs and we looked at it initially and gave some feedback. And so Eric told AI to change it up, make it sound less confrontational, a little bit more. And then AI within 2 seconds came up with another letter. I mean, these are things that the sooner we can embrace it, and instead of fighting it or just ignoring it like it doesn't exist, the better you are.
There's a third rail in that, and that is understanding how AI works, because it still needs somebody to direct a creative vision for whatever you are trying to use it for. And my experience is that it can be both the best and worst employee ever. It takes resources in order to be able to pay for it, but it can be really powerful. I was telling you guys in the meeting, I don't know anything about computers really, except how to hit the buttons. But I was doing coding over the weekend with the help of AI, and this is stuff that my brother is doing. He's been doing professionally for 20 years, and I don't understand a blink of it, but I can access it if I have some understanding of AI.
Exactly.
So here's my question to you all back. One more thing. Let's take artwork. Someone that is a painter, you buy some artwork, and you can't tell the difference if it's AI generated or not. Will you still pay more for it originally done than the AI generated piece of artwork?
Absolutely. I think authenticity is going to be an ever increasingly desired commodity.
Even though you guys know we live in the land of fake Louis Vuittons and fake Gucci's and
but you know who really cares?
Who? Oh yeah.
You know who cares. I mean, the people. So it'll be that circle of people who really care that it's something authentic.
I mean, some people buy only IKEA. Others want something that's handmade and nice.
But at the same time, we all know that Sam Walton made a lot of money with Walmart.
Yep.
I was just at Walmart this weekend.
Get some good deals?
Oh my gosh. I left there with 5 outfits for $100. I mean, I was shocked. A lot of them were shorts.
This AI conversation, we could just go deep and deep and deep with. All right, good stuff. Hey, coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show, we gave you time. Have you seen the video of the French president getting off the airplane? Well, we're going to be talking about it, so you got time now. Go check the video on out, and we'll go talk about it next. Gee and Ursula. This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes.
KIRO Newsradio, winners of 3 2025 Regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey live in Linwood.
Bunch of tall trees in a wooded area just off of Alderwood Mall Parkway.
And we thank you.
We are the Northwest leading news station because of you, inspiring us every day to deliver the local news and stories you care about.
KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM.
As we all know, Memorial Day weekend was a time to honor and remember those who have served in our armed forces. This holiday weekend was the official start to the summer, and it brought people outside for boating and barbecues. So therefore, my friend Jonathan from DUI Heroes says that DUI arrests were a lot over the weekend, and it increased. So if you or someone you know were pulled over for DUI, contact DUI Heroes immediately. Your DUI defense specialist, 1-800-DUI-HERO. That number is answered 24/7, DUIHeroes.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-961-5544. 800-961-5544.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys. And I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
The first Mariners Fireworks Night is coming up, and we're starting things off with a bang. Be here this Friday for our K-pop fireworks show, presented by T-Mobile, after the team takes on the Twins at 7:10.
Jorge Polanco, his second home run of the night. He is absolutely on fire.
Get ready for an epic dance party as we light up the sky with a post-game show powered by the biggest global hits, fireworks, and Mariners baseball. That's 2 spectacular shows in one unforgettable night.
JP with a flip, and they got him at first base. How in the world?
Visit Mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and see the complete lineup of all 6 Mariners fireworks nights this summer, including a sing-along show on June 13th and a patriotic palooza on July 3rd. Plus, check out everything else on deck at T-Mobile Park, like 3 straight Mariners value games against the Orioles starting Tuesday, June 3rd. Mariners baseball. Try dance up.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Conservative religious groups plan to meet at Seattle City Hall today to demand an apology from Mayor Bruce Harrell. Harrell said a far-right group held a rally at Cal Anderson's Park Saturday to provoke the LGBTQ community there. Russell Johnson is the lead pastor at Pursuit Northwest Church.
He's blaming the people who are on the receiving end of unchecked violence.
Harrell also blamed the violence on anarchists, whom he said infiltrated a group of counter-protesters. Police arrested 23 people. Counter-protesters now say they will show up at City Hall this afternoon, too. We'll let you know what happens. The Pierce County Sheriff says he will not enforce the state's newly passed gun permit law, which he calls politically motivated. It requires gun owners to obtain a permit and pass a live fire training course before buying a firearm. Supporters say it will save lives. A deadly shooting in Auburn's Lee Hill neighborhood this morning.
Spokesperson Colby Crossley tells me the suspects were looking for the victim.
We do believe that this was a targeted attack. We also believe that there was more than one shooter.
Police say the one man who was shot later died at Harborview Medical Center. No arrests so far. Last Wednesday, about a mile away, a suspect rode up to the entrance of a mobile home park on a dirt bike and shot a 17-year-old boy. That victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Overseas, police don't believe it was a terror attack, but don't yet know why. A 53-year-old British man rammed a car into a crowd celebrating a Liverpool soccer team championship. This witness says it appeared to be deliberate.
And we suddenly saw the car reverse and then accelerate and move through the crowd. Yeah, it was terrifying. It genuinely was terrifying.
Dozens of people, including children, were hospitalized. Ukraine says Russia is escalating its attacks. Over the weekend, Ukraine saw its biggest single-day drone attack since Russia invaded in 2022. As for a ceasefire, CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb reports.
President Trump is growing frustrated by Vladimir Putin's continued attacks on Ukraine and the slow pace of these peace talks, and is now reportedly eyeing sanctions against Moscow.
And there's concern Trump will abandon peace talks altogether. Wall Street is happy the president is delaying a 50% tariff on European goods. The Dow is up 724 points, NASDAQ ahead 448. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, your big crashes have been cleared. Construction is the challenge right now. In Tacoma, roadwork has the HOV lane closed on I-5 southbound near East McKinley Way. That's near the Tacoma Dome. Just a little bit of a backup there right now. Roadwork has you creeping along JBLM southbound between the Lewis Army Museum and Madigan Army Medical Center. Travel time Tacoma to Olympia 40 minutes. That's 10 longer than usual. And it's slow going on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the low 70s. Highs tomorrow in the 80s. It's 63 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show, and as promised, we are going to talk about French President Emmanuel Macron and the big debate over what exactly happened in that airplane and what we all saw and what he's saying now, because he is brushing off that viral footage of what looked, at least at first glance, like his wife shoving him in the face.
Right.
So it happened as Macron's plane door opened in Hanoi over the weekend, and cameras caught Brigitte Macron reaching out and pushing both hands straight into his face. And then initially he looked kind of stunned, but then he laughed quickly and waved to the cameras. So now he is saying, oh, this was just playful bickering, something that the couple does quite often. But social media lit up, and even some French commentators are suggesting that what happened hinted at domestic violence against men. And there were a lot of folks here who had opinions about it, but Macron is not having it. He says this whole uproar is nonsense, and he is blasting what he calls a growing wave of disinformation. In the past month alone, he has had to deny rumors about a handshake power struggle with Turkey's president. There were also accusations of cocaine on a train trip to Ukraine. if you look even further back, there are all sorts of accusations about Brigitte Macron and what her history is. And so his message to critics right now is everyone needs to just calm down and focus on the real news.
Yeah, we know what we saw. And that look on your face after you got shoved in it is a look that some of us recognize. We don't have to speak the language. That was universal, the language on your face. Now, Ursula, you know me. I love to turn the topics that we talk about and make them more relatable to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
The question first is, do you know a couple like this? Do you know a couple like this that has these things that kind of go on, they kind of hide them, or sometimes they can't hide them? And the reason why I'm saying that, because there was a time in my life that I was in one of these relationships. I recognize this. And here's my advice to anyone that are in these things. Get out. It shouldn't be a relationship anymore. And the reason why it shouldn't be a relationship, because it is at some point, it is going to end bad. No, it's going to end bad. So to the French president, you already got some stuff that be going on. There's a lot of rumors and being talked about. But fam, we recognize that for you to get shoved in your face like that, nah, that's not normal.
It isn't normal. Once you start putting hands on, physical,
For
whatever,
sure.
I mean, but I think that they're under a lot more scrutiny because of a number of things, including the fact that he's 47 years old. She is 72. They met when he was 15 and she was 39. I mean, and they have been dogged with all sorts of accusations, allegations, rumors, you know, the whole, is there a strange power dynamic? And I think that some of it is understandable, that people have a lot of questions about it. Some of it is just like, none of your dang business. However, we can't normalize this shoving in the face. You know, even if he says, hey, it's nothing, it's not a big deal. I think we're actually making a bigger deal of it here in this country, though, than they are in France. I will say that.
Anyone who's worked with domestic violence survivors would tell you that minimizing and joking off obvious behaviors is incredibly common.
Well, speaking of...
it is very common, yes. And people are desensitized also in those abusive relationships to this whole idea of like shoving you in the face.
Speaking of minimizing, like, okay, I want to talk about the side of, because there are some men that are in relationships where they get the physical abuse, they hold back, and they don't put their hands on the person, but the woman puts their hands on him. That gets minimized because you don't want to come out and they don't throw her in jail for something like that. But I just want to say, that's wrong too. Don't let that slide.
Yeah. It's just a woman doing it. He can handle it or whatever. No.
Yeah.
No. Well, that is domestic violence.
Because what's going to end up happening is this: that man will allow that to happen, and just hold him off. And one time they're going to keep doing it, and then they're going to just turn it on you, and then you go to jail for it.
I think a lot of men also don't necessarily recognize that they're in an abusive relationship. You know, physically it's one thing, and often guys will minimize it. Oh, you know, it's not a big deal. She's smaller than me. You know, it doesn't really hurt when she does that to me. But it's when it comes to the emotional abuse and the controlling behaviors, like as men, she just really cares about me a lot. Like sometimes she gets really passionate about things. Like she just wants to see more of me. She needs me around. And I don't think guys are raised to recognize when they are being victimized by someone else.
It is true. And they think of it as a sign of weakness if they complain about it, or like, who's going to believe this? Or, you know, I just need to suck it up or whatever. And no, I mean, and are the majority of instances violence against women? Yes, I believe so. And I think the statistics would bear out. But again, I don't think we should normalize it. I'm glad there are these conversations. He is brushing it off, and it's just the latest in this obsession over their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it did have a weird start.
It did.
Come on now.
So do you guys know a couple like this? Or
it did have a weird start.
If this was a man and a girl, we would be having an entirely different conversation, right?
Wait. 15 and 39? If the
39-year-old was a man, there was no one on this planet who would not say that's like pedophilia and abuse and grooming.
They wouldn't say that?
There's no one who wouldn't say that if it was a man.
Exactly. And I still think that there was grooming involved.
Yeah.
39 and 15?
Yes.
If that was my 15-year-old son, I'd be furious and I would be fighting it.
There's no man who would get elected in that position, though.
No.
It is weird.
I mean, it really is weird. That said, again, we can't normalize that behavior, what we saw on the plane.
So if it would have been, like we were saying, though, if it was a 70-something-year-old man that shoved a 39-year-old woman in the face.
Yeah, can't have different standards.
Nope. All right, text messages, feedback, and then we'll have Ursula's Words to Live By. Jen Ursula.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
At Les Schwab, we've been changing the tire game for more than 70 years. Our Go the Extra Mile service means more hustle, less hassle. We design our own exclusive tires to give you more tires made for the road you drive, less compromise. All backed by America's best tire warranty included with every tire we sell. We're talking more unbeatable tire warranty, less charging you extra, like the other guys. It's why you get more from less. Book an appointment at leschwab.com.
If you're thinking about renovating an attic, spending more time in your sunroom, or building onto your home, a Carrier ductless unit is the perfect solution for climate control. It's efficient, quiet, and incredibly flexible when it comes to installation because there's no ductwork required. It's just one more way we're making your home totally comfortable.
Your local Carrier heating and cooling dealer will improve your home's comfort, air quality, and efficiency. Visit CarrierNorthwest.com to find the expert near you. Carrier, turn to the experts.
I've always been a super athletic guy, but after I turned 40, I noticed I was slowing down. Instead of hitting the gym after work, I spent my evenings on the couch with a bag of chips. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Hey, Spike O'Neill for Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens. About 2 months ago, I finally given up to the fact that I wasn't as young as I used to be and my eyeballs were not as young as they used to be. It didn't work as well as to be. I always had perfect vision in my life, but I noticed deterioration. So I went to the folks at Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens, had a full eye exam. They do amazing work. And it was determined that by their very excellent staff, I had the beginnings of cataract. And I was a perfect candidate for refractive lens exchange, RLE surgery. Now, the folks at Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK and Lens have done over 80,000 successful lens replacements replacement surgeries. So I was in great hands. My care team from start to finish put me at ease, answered all my questions. The procedure was easy. I was in and out in less than an hour. And within a couple of weeks, my recovery was complete. I've got 20/10 vision. Colors are brighter, more focused. I'll never need readers again, and I will never develop a cataract. They are the future of vision over 45. Give the folks at Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens a call, 425-451-2020. That's 425-451-2020, or online at sharp-vision.com, sharp with an e-vision.com, official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Improve the security of your home with Lake Washington Windows and Doors exclusive break-resistant glass technology. Get a free quote at LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
It's Gee and Ursula, everybody. Oh, did this day go by fast? It went by fast. Ursula, what you got on them text messages?
Well, in the beginning of the show, I think you asked if I had ever been kicked out of a ball game.
Yeah, and you said no, which I was surprised.
No, you weren't. Oh. I'm surprised you said no.
Okay.
Okay, but Destiny in Seattle said, yes, I have been kicked out of T-Mobile Park.
Shocker.
When my husband and I first started dating, he took me to a Mariners versus Yankee game. We took his brother, who dressed up as a secret agent, and my husband dressed up as George Steinbrenner. He took fake $1 million bills with him and threw them whenever the Yankees would score. We were escorted out of the stadium because one of the fake $1 million bills could cut someone's eye as they floated down, they were told. And then someone else said, 206 said, I could see Ursula getting kicked out of a Scrabble game. LOL. That's not far from the truth.
Sweeping statement. If you show up to a game dressed as George Steinbrenner, I don't have anything to sweep with. Anyway, what? Protests and arrest at Cal Anderson Park. Lisa in Sammamish says the LGBTQ community could kill them with kindness, bring them lemonade, and practice what these religious people claim to support.
Yeah, see, I like the way Lisa's thinking.
Me too.
Mac in Bellevue, who is in law enforcement, says tonight's protest, this is going to be violent. There is going to be a police officer that is going to get hurt tonight without a doubt. No one is talking about the family members of these officers who are so scared, and they pray that their loved ones will make it home tonight. There will be SPD officers that are so stressed out tonight.
I just want to... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I do want to say that I hope that does not come to fruition.
Yeah.
We know that there are going to be a lot of people there who are going to want to get attention. They want to get attention not just of the mayor and everyone at City Hall, but they want to get the attention of this entire country. This story has already gotten national attention. It does not put a positive light on this region and its people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Nope.
No one on the show wants anyone to get hurt. I hope it is just peaceful and you can get your message across while still being peaceful.
I just want to say that since we've been doing this show, we have law enforcement that hit us up off the record. But Mac in Bellevue be straight
Love
hitting
him.
us up on the record. I got mad love for you, Mac.
Mm-hmm.
The party starts at 3. What time do you show up? Brenton Belfair says, arrive at 2:30, ready to help set up.
Okay, Brent, if you're arriving at 2:30, you better not be asking, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Just look around and get going. You know what I mean?
By the way, my buddy AJ's dad, Mr. Jackson, hit me up on the side and hit me some rules to the barbecue.
Okay.
And basically saying if you get there too early, you're going to have to help set up. And if you get there too late, you're going to be asked to bring something. Like, hey, can you stop off at the store? Can you stop off? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Need some ice. We need a 12-pack.
Yes. Kind of true.
Yes. Ernie and Kent.
Yeah.
You have News Bus open?
Yeah, it's open. Gee. Wait a minute. You could have read that, Ursula. I read Brent Bell
this way.
But I'll read it. My man Ernie and Kent, who's in Nashville, by the way, right now, says, gee, this is not a black or white question. Well, technically, it is. If Chef is having a cookout, I'm getting there at 3:10. If it's you, I'm getting there at 3:30. BP time is real. Haha. I don't even know what BP time is.
I do.
I don't. What is it?
You want me to get in trouble?
No, I don't know what it is.
You and Ernie are part of what delegation?
Nick, what is BP time?
What is that? I don't even know.
Okay, just to I know, right? I will tell you that Filipino time is often brought up too.
Oh.
So BP time and Filipino time are things that are brought up.
Okay.
Yes.
That wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
All right. Christy in Oregon says, if the party starts at 3, get there at 3. Why would you show up 45 minutes, an hour late, except for a legitimate emergency? Oh, that's just plain rude and shows how little you think of the event and the people who invited you.
Wow.
Don't agree, Christy.
Kenan Everett says, if it is a business event, you should arrive 5 minutes early. However, if it is a social event like a party or barbecue, you should arrive 10 to 15 minutes after the stated starting time.
Okay, then we talked about zip ties, and it went from zip ties being available on the flight when someone was trying to get out of the emergency exit door to G just asking about zip ties and if you ran into anyone carrying zip ties. 360 says, I carried zip tie restraints on all my flights.
360, come on, player. Carolyn Olympia says, I know 2 older gentlemen in their 60s who are constantly equipped like Boy Scouts. I'm sure they'd have zip ties on them.
And then 206 says the airline calls them flex cuffs, but let's be real. They're just beefed up zip ties.
Oh, wow.
As for that exit row seating, here's a pro tip. On narrow body aircraft with 2 exit rows over the wing, go for the second one. The seat in front of that row cannot recline, so you won't have someone leaning into your lap. But your seat, it still reclines. Best of both worlds. Extra leg room, no seat back in your face, and a little tilt for yourself. Thank you, 206.
Shawn Kemp pleads guilty to second-degree assault. JD in Puyallup says, how will this felony affect Shawn Kemp's pot shop?
Good question. Scott in Auburn says, Mr. Kemp will not be able to enter Canada now with a felony. And then I want to just remember that we were asking, what is the appropriate number of dogs to have on a leash?
Yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to Dennis and LaConnor. Longtime listener, first time texting, he says. At dog parks, you are responsible for picking up after your dogs. You can't keep track of more than about 5 dogs. There should definitely be a limit.
All right. Okay, Ursula, it's now time for your good old words to live by. What you got?
Well, remember I was talking about the importance of critical thinking? So it had me thinking about quotes regarding that. Aristotle says, be a free thinker and don't accept everything that you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. And then, to quote Albert Einstein now, a great many people think they are thinking when they're merely rearranging their own prejudices.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
This show flew on by today.
It flew.
Really. Happy Tuesday to all of you. Gorgeous day outside. I hope you enjoy it.
That's right. Chef, I got a question for you, but let's go to Nick first.
Well, once again, more troubles for some travelers on these planes, given deadlines now to get checked in, avoiding tardy pains. But at least you're not the president of France when touching down, who I heard is getting slapping fights at local rings in town. Or maybe it's a rivalry between him and his wife that's been played down for the audience who hypertrack their lives. We don't want to downplay the case, but I won't shove my face into it. Keep my distance.
Hey, Chef, before we leave, I got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Bathing. Do you use a washcloth?
I use pumice on the feet. I use the bar soap on the body. I will occasionally pumice the body. Why? What does this have to do with anything?
What? That was so random.
There's no protection with the bar soap. You just There's no protection of the bar soap. He uses the bar soap on the body.
What's wrong with that?
What about,
That's what soap is for.
But when somebody else comes to use, they got to use that same bar soap?
Who's using your bar? Who's going into
Why
your
would you
shower?
be using my shower?
I'm just saying, though. But what if you have...
And by the way, my husband uses bar soap, and I use soap in a pump.
Okay, so you don't use the same
body
soap?
wash.
Okay, so nobody uses that soap.
Why do you want to know about... Was that just one of those random G thoughts?
Oh, no, it's not random.
The bar wash lasts for like 2 months.
Let me just tell you something, Ursula. It's a big conversation.
Where?
It's a big conversation.
With
Trust me, people on the text line, they're going to text in. There's a conversation on, like, some people just use the bar soap. Some people use a loofah sponge. Or some people use a washcloth.
What do you do?
I use that sponge.
Oh, you mean the sponge that stays in the shower and gets reused by everybody?
Yeah.
And then gets all disgusting and moldy?
No. You change them out.
You can wash them.
Yeah.
Once every 2 weeks?
But I just think it's... Jake and Spike Show comes in next. Appreciate you for listening. Love you for that. And as always, be kind.
Hope you have as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
When we reach our golden years, it's natural to want to stay in our homes. We've worked hard for them, but as our minds and bodies age, the home can become an unsafe place where loneliness thrives. Amanda here for Care Partners Senior Living. Our communities offer safe living spaces and managed common areas with medical professionals on site and ready to help. We assist you with your mobility when needed, allowing you to socialize or participate in activities whenever you like. Care Partners Senior Living provides both privacy and socialization at your desired pace. You aren't living alone in our communities because help is always nearby. And believe it or not, community living can be more cost-effective than in-home care. With locations throughout Washington and Arizona, you'll find a Care Partners community near you. Care, it's in our name and what we do. Learn more at carepartnersliving.com.
With 30 communities, including Covington, Bremerton, Snohomish, and the grand opening of North Creek Bothell, there's quality senior care at an affordable price near you. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
At Madrona Financial and CPAs, we believe there are 7 steps that must be taken in preparation for a successful retirement. Retirement needs more than just a basic income plan. Hi, Jeff here.